Recording in progress.
All right, everyone, good evening. Today is Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. It is now 6 o'clock, and I'm calling this meeting of the Wellfleet Selectboard to order. As is customary, we will start with announcements and public comments. Please remember that public comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes, and that the board will not discuss or deliberate any matter raised solely during public comments. I'll start with the board. Member Garboni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Am I on? Maybe. I just want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and everyone else involved with the parade on Saturday. It was a great success, even under kind of trying circumstances. So thank you, Chamber, and everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the board?
No, I just will copy those remarks, and I think a great time was had by all. Good floats, good energy.
Anyone in the room? Please.
Mark Spiegel from 10 Seapine Road. This June 30th working meeting of the Select Board addressing the current status of Maurice's Campground demonstrated the kind of leadership Wellfleet has been waiting for. The Select Board acknowledged the community's call for stronger direction, clear coordination, the need to analyze multiple options, and create a more inclusive process. By supporting a staff-led project management structure and the formation of a broad stakeholders group, the board signaled a decisive shift towards a more legitimate and effective planning framework, one that replaces the narrow committee-driven Maurice's Campground Planning Committee process with a model grounded in professional expertise and direct community representation. This new direction matters. For the first time, the town staff made explicit that the future planning for Maurice's will be guided by the 2008 Local Comprehensive Plan and the 2023 Housing Production Plan. These documents are not optional. They are the town's adopted planning frameworks built from real data, real community engagement, real statutory requirements. They identify Wellfleet's demographic realities, workforce housing needs, environmental constraints, and long-term growth patterns. They show what kinds of housing Wellfleet actually needs and where it can responsibly be built. This is precisely the framework that the Maurice's Campground Planning Committee did not follow. By ignoring the Local Comprehensive Plan and Housing Production Plan, the committee vigorously pursued a single concept that was disconnected from documented local demographic needs and unsupported by the town's own planning documents. That misalignment brought Wellfleet to this critical juncture, where town meeting rejected the process, not the critical need for affordable and attainable housing. I stand to fully support the staff-led model now on the table, which redirects the path we're on, with professional leadership, a representative stakeholders group, exploration of multiple options, along with explicit alignment with the Local Comprehensive Plan and the Housing Production Plan. Wellfleet can finally move forward with a revised plan for Maurice's that produces the housing the town actually needs in a phased, flexible, locally grounded, and supported by both data and community voice. The June 30th Select Board meeting showed leadership. Tonight's meeting is the moment to continue the leadership demonstrated and adopt the new process that was discussed.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room?
Can you hear me okay? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. My name's Bill Gordon. I'm on the Maurice's Planning Committee that was just referenced. I was at last week's meeting. I'm extremely sad about the directions things seem to have taken, namely essentially disbanding the committee and moving the oversight internally, which is no disrespect to the staff at all. My comment more relates to process, the time needed, to oversee this kind of project. The staff already has full-time jobs, and the kind of technical expertise for a project of this type which exists within the Oversight Committee or the Planning Committee. It's my hope that there's still an open mind among the Select Board. I'm sad because I feel like we've come very far and are ready for the next step. Proceeding as articulated last week would be a huge step backwards, and there's no need to do so. I'll explain why. Let us get a project manager on board and issue an RFP, a developer RFP, and select one based on a clear understanding that the developer uses the proposed master plan as a starting point only. For example, we can instruct them within the RFP to provide 3 scenarios, one for 150 units, 200, and 250. We can instruct them to rework the unit ratios to reflect the feedback given by the community and adjust the proposed affordable rental, home ownership, middle income market, et cetera, as has been expressed and articulated by the community. Let the developer do their job. In the RFP, we can clearly state that they need to put in place an acceptable wastewater plan and drinking water plan. These 2 items are being used as a smoking gun by opponents and can be handled by the developer. Any developer on the project is going to have to demonstrate approved plans for these and other items in order to get financing. No bank and no affordable housing type program will award release of funds until it's demonstrated that all needed utilities and septic and so forth can be provided. Let the developer do their job. Let them come back to the town with scenarios that we can proceed from there and tweak it as needed. Finally, we do not, in my opinion, need more intense meeting and debate. The people of Wellfleet have clearly spoken and made their desires clear, and they can be factored into the RFP, and the developer will address them. Let us keep moving forward and capitalize on all the work that's been done to date and the momentum that we do have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? I'm just, can you come to the microphone?
Is public comment now or before now?
I'm going to allow public comment during our discussion of Maurice's as well at the end of the meeting. Yeah. Anyone else for public comment in the room? Going online. There's a phone number that raised their hand first, 774. Can you just identify yourself, please?
Good evening. This is Laura Kelly. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Hi, Laura.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much for allowing a few moments. I wanted to start off by saying thank you to everybody in town for voting for the fertilizer reduction home rule petition. It passed by flying colors, and once it passes, it becomes a bill at the State House. And there was a hearing for Wellfleet's fertilizer reduction, bill number H5433, an act regarding the use of fertilizer in the town of Wellfleet. So it's on the House side, and currently it is the Joint Committee that just held a hearing on July 1st. So we have now an open comment period for 2 weeks after that. So my ask is for anybody who voted for fertilizer reduction in town, please write a support letter. Written testimony may be submitted by email to jointcommittee.environment@malegislature.gov. And the deadline is July 14th, 10 a.m. Again, this is for Bill H5433. Also, you have the capability to support 8 bills at the same time, so please support your neighboring town, which would be Eastham, for the same thing, fertilizer reduction. And that bill is H5484. To let you know, currently 6 towns have voted and passed for fertilizer reduction close by. So thank you for any participation. My other ask would be for the Select Board and other town boards to also write a support letter to the joint committee within the deadline. It's going to be something that we all need to do to further this bill through the State House, from the House side to the Senate side, to get signed by the governor. Thank you very much for your time and participation in order to allow this to become law, hopefully in the near future. Good luck with everything. Thanks again. Laura Kelly.
Thank you very much.
Just very quickly, Laura, can you please send those instructions to us so that we have them in writing? And that's it.
Thank you. Heather Doyle, please.
Hi, it's Heather Doyle. Good evening. Just want to make everybody aware now that we're in full summer season, for people that are walking to the beach each day, new this summer, here all winter, and wonder what's inside the bright red emergency call boxes at the top of your beaches. Next week you can find out. Everybody is invited to a lunch and learn at July 14, which is Tuesday, starting at 11. We will offer a free box lunch, so it is a lunch and learn. This is sponsored by the Wellfleet Fire Department, the COA Adult Community Center, Cape Cod Ocean Community, which is a nonprofit that I spearhead with eyes firmly on public safety. Keep in mind, this isn't just for major emergencies. This is everyday confidence, quick hands-on skills that you'll learn, whether you're biking, hiking, swimming, and working, other hobbies. In a crisis, the minutes before the responders arrive are the ones that matter the most. So come spend some time with us, enjoy a lunch, learn some techniques, learn what's in the boxes and how you might use them. So in the event you find yourself in a spot, you feel like you know what to do. If you need more information, please call 774-801-8119, or you can reach out to me. I'm very easily available around town. Heather Doyle.
Thank you. Judah Hearn, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak. I first wanted to say thank you to the audiovisual team who is now indexing the select board meetings. That's extremely helpful, and I really appreciate it. And I encourage everybody to use that to review what's happening at these very long meetings. And sorry, my points are going to be a little over the place, but I'll start with some of the comments that were just said about Maurice's as they relate to Lawrence Hill. On June 23rd, the Sewer Commission met and approved our new sewer regs, or I should say recommended them for the Select Board, which then approved them. It was kind of a rush so that we could get Lawrence Hill online, but central to that was a question I had in that meeting when Tom promised to give to me the numbers that determine the flow and thus the rate on the municipal buildings. And I have yet to receive that. And it's relevant because people are talking about Maurice's, like the last gentleman, saying that no developer would get approval without wastewater, for instance, being in place. Well, we just saw that with Lawrence Hill. We were told that hooking up the neighboring houses would reduce the nitrogen, et cetera, et cetera. It's turning out not to be true. And we, the taxpayers, were the ones who paid for that system. We still don't know how much, and hopefully Tom will enlighten us how much the operating costs will be on that. So there's that. But as far as town staff getting involved with Maurice's, I just want to know why it took 2 years to get to this point. And also the comment that staff has full-time jobs. Well, yes, it's our planner's full-time job, who we pay $165,000 a year to do. As far as FinCom, if anyone missed their last meeting, Chair Conroy brought up the issue of whether there would be public comment allowed, and all of them were against any kind of public comment. So I just want, for various reasons, it would be unruly, they wouldn't be efficient. But they said this on the back of not approving 8 sets of minutes. Basically, all of the minutes that were used for the budget season were not posted for the public. as we all know, the missing video for the most important meeting, which was admin and DPW, is missing. But that didn't seem to influence them in any way, and it was suggested that we could just send an email to the committee. Well, there aren't ways to send emails to committee, so I encourage the select board to look into that and find out, how you can really be more inclusive, since you say that this is so important to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ahern. Anyone else online? I'm not seeing any. Anyone else in the room? Very well. Moving on to the consent agenda, the use of Town Hall Green, Kevin McMahon, Wellfleet Cultural Council. This is on the consent, so we, excuse me.
But he's,
Just for the record, it's not the council, it's the district doing this event.
Ah, that's helpful.
It's on the form is correct, it was misspelled on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So to reiterate, we have one item on the consent agenda, which is a use of town property request of the Wellfleet Cultural District, Town Hall front lawn for the Wellfleet First event.
Yeah, we just have to make the motion in the entirety now, because yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the application of the Wellfleet Cultural District for use of town property on August 1st or September 5th, depending on artist availability, as described in the application for a Wellfleet First Saturday event.
second.
Second.
So have a roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, I.
Josh, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Careful the irrigation.
Moving on to the town administrator's report.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Couple of things this evening. I want to catch you up quickly on one. We learned this afternoon through the MEMA that FEMA has denied Massachusetts' request for a major disaster declaration from the storms. The Healy-Driscoll administration is planning to appeal. That's all, the long and short of what I got on that today. An exciting, I think exciting piece, and I'm going to ask Jay to chime in a little bit if I could, Mr. Chairman. We are entering a joint partnership, if you will, to submit a grant application with UMass Amherst as it relates to monitoring, caring for, and otherwise planning catch basins. I know that's exciting, but I do want Jay to explain
Sure thing.
the project.
No problem. And through you, Mr. Chair, for the record, Jay Norton, DPW Director. So a little background. A few years ago, I connected with some professors from UMass Amherst School of Engineering, and it was a resiliency webinar on some of our low-lying roads. And we've since then developed a relationship. So they reached out to me recently to see if we were interested in collaborating on this initiative that they're trying to do with some new technology and how to inspect catch basins. So this grant opportunity will provide, so it's a phased approach. So phase one would be developing this prototype that's basically a robotic arm that would use LiDAR technology to inspect the interior of a catch basin. So basically it would get all the dimensions of it, it would get the sediment level, it would get inverts of pipes and so on and so forth. So we would be, collaborating with them on this groundbreaking technology if it all goes through. So pretty exciting stuff.
Do you have any idea what the grant amount is, Jay?
I think it's $200,000.
So if we get the grant, we'll come back before the board for acceptance as required, so.
Sounds great.
Right.
Good.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
I want to give you an update on the community service director's position and where we're going with that. We concluded our interviews last week. The interview team, for people who would like to know, were Ms. Goodhouse, Ms. Namji, Ms. Savage. I believe all from the council. Former Director Grout Thomas and Mr. Bugby and myself. We conducted 6 interviews over the course of 2 days, 3 days as it turned out, over the course of 3 days. Once I notify the applicants tomorrow of their status and I am concluded the negotiations with the preferred candidate, assuming that we have successful negotiations, I will make a public announcement probably later tomorrow. I need from the board, I had asked last week for a couple of dates for off regular scheduled meetings for some things that we need to do. It was reported back that we think we can do next week's sewer commissioner meeting and combine that with the Herring River work as well. So we will plan to do that. I do need another date and time for a daytime or evening meeting, whatever works for the board, relative to an executive session that we need to have, and I need to notice some people that we are having that executive session, so I need at least 48 hours notice, but really probably 72 hours notice. I was thinking about Friday, since Thursday was not good for people. Friday is not good for people. Okay, so we would have to move it to next week. Could we do Monday? I really don't, I know the board's wants to move on this, and I don't want to let too much daylight get between.
You mean Monday the 13th?
Monday the 13th?
What time would you be looking for?
I have to check with council to see when they're available for that time.
I have an Affordable Housing Trust meeting in the morning, usually wraps up shortly before noon.
Could we tentatively try to say 4 o'clock?
Works for me.
I'm
Fine with me.
We're talking Monday, the 13th.
Monday the 13th, 4 o'clock, and I'll let you know if that's a go.
Do that.
All right. So don't put it in the calendar yet?
No, I have to talk to council first to make sure they're available.
But you should save the time.
I'm saving it.
Through the chair.
Please.
What time was that, Tom?
4,
4 o'clock.
tentatively. I do want to talk, if I could ask through the chair, Ms. Moquin to come up to the table, please. Good evening.
Hi.
I reported out to the Finance Committee at their last meeting the difficulty the town is having in securing an auditor for 25 and apparently 26 as well, and the need to have the auditors come and finish the work that they were doing for 24. We have been out to bid at least 3 times for FY25 and once already that I know of for FY26 with no bidders. I have spoken with Sean Cronin. I have also spoken with Deborah Wagner, who is a director of DOR. Asking for ideas, help, support. Can they come down and do it? Which they cannot. I was hoping that they could, but they cannot. We have called, I'm going to say 13 to 14 auditing firms in the western part of the state, in the central part of the state, in the eastern part of the state. At the Mass Municipal Association annual meeting, Deborah Wagner from DOR sent us a list of boutique smaller firms, they have all been contacted. The former company we had, CBiz, opted it late. It was like November of '25, that they were not going to continue audits with the town. Not for any particular reason. There were a number of towns throughout the state, mostly smaller communities, one mid-sized town that I'm aware of, that they just dropped. When Markham went, Sullivan and Hayes went to Markham, went to CBiz. We had invited them in for December 16th to give a report. They were not available that day. We decided that we wanted the federal report on our federal funds. We have to audit our federal funds if we receive over, I think the amount's gone up since I last looked, but I think it's $600,000 plus or minus in federal funding. You need to have what they call a federal side audit. It used to be an A103. I don't know if it's that anymore. And we have not received that. At Mr. Curley's request, I am reaching out to see if they can come in and give a report on the audit itself. But we need the A103 or the federal audit for our bonding. It's not an immediate issue because we temporarily borrow on bond issues for up to 3 years if we need to. But I don't want the board or the townspeople to think for a minute that, I'm going to let Sue talk a little bit more about the outreach that she's done, that we haven't been on this almost, it keeps me up at night, and literally. But we are working on it. Sue, if you want to just give a little explanation more.
So beyond.
Get the mic closer.
Oh, sorry. So beyond what we've tried to do with CBiz, I also reached out to the CEO of the firm and made sure that everyone in our financial team was aware of that, and we didn't even get a response from the CEO of CBiz. We've reached out to Scanlon to engage with us. Scanlon didn't respond more than, well, I have spoken with the treasurer and I've spoken with the accountant. Nothing more than that. Rizzoli and Clark, I know somebody that works for them, and they asked us to send our financial statements and such, but they're so overwhelmed by all the communities that CBiz dropped that we were one of the last towns to have been dropped by CBiz. So they picked up a lot of communities, and they also did not respond to doing a contract. And then the Abrams Group, which is a very reputable company in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but he's more the municipal side. He does not do municipal to the financial gap statement. So he's more than welcome to, help us with whatever we need, but he can't convert that into a financial statement that we're looking for. So we have done our due diligence, and we've tried very hard to try to get somebody on board.
Yeah. Question, Mr. Chairman, if I might. Can we convert from UBIS to GAP?
I did ask him that. I didn't get a response from Deb Wagner at DOR regarding if we did it ourselves, would it suffice as a unaudited statement so we can go forward with bond ratings and stuff like that. Didn't get a response from DOR, but Mr. Abrams said that he doesn't believe that would be suffice.
I have a question. I think you touched on this, but it seems to me that the order of operations was lots of independent auditors were rolled up into CBiz.
Mm-hmm.
CBiz then decided to pull out of the state of Massachusetts and left a number of communities.
Yeah, they didn't pull out of the entire state, I don't believe.
I don't
But I'm
believe so
mistaken.
either, but a lot of the smaller communities.
They dropped a lot of the smaller communities. So this is not necessarily unique to Wellfleet, but communities of our size are all
Correct.
experiencing this same problem.
Correct.
Have we reached out to any of those communities on how they're trying to solve this problem?
I've talked to a few of my colleagues, and they're in the same boat we are. They're just trying to find somebody to do their audits for them.
So through the chair, what's the credential that somebody needs to be able to do this type of review?
So I heard, what are the
The
credentials?
credential of an auditor, to make you an
Uh,
auditor.
I don't know exactly what the state credentials are, but they're licensed CPAs within whatever, each state that they do these audits for. And I think without being a CPA, we're not going to look at anything below that.
Okay,
And there are a lot of auditing firms that don't do municipals,
right.
they
So
just do corporate.
that's the issue, is there's just nobody's doing,
The people that are doing them are booked.
okay.
But I didn't want the board or the townspeople to be in the impression that we're letting this, it's not a big deal. It's a very big deal, and we are taking it extremely seriously.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
Thank you. What does DOR say about our situation? I mean,
They sympathize. They know that we're not the only ones. They have provided us what information they can. I was concerned about our free cash certifications and those types of things as well. I was informed as long as the Schedule A and whatever other magic you have to pull together to go up there, if we can get those to them and our closing balances and all of the things that we do every year, we'll be fine with them. So that's not a concern that I have right now, but I did have that concern.
about the bond.
Yeah, the bonding I'm not heavily concerned with, because we can temporarily borrow as we need to, things that aren't bonded right now. For, after a year's worth of temporary borrowing, you got to make the equivalent of a principal payment, but it lowers the amortization as well, so it doesn't leave sequence. That's all I got, but I did.
No, thank you.
So could it be solved by, offering a higher degree of compensation for auditors? I mean, the long-term consequences of not having audited financials is, I think, is being understated. It's not just a matter of governance. You have to have audited financial statements for a number of different things with the state. It has to be done by an independent auditor. So,
if I may, one of the reasons why I was curious if we've been in discussions with other communities of our size that are having trouble, is there a way of just getting an economy of scale if we can join together to try to hire someone? I know it's probably 6 in one and half dozen in the other, but is there a way we can get the attention of some of these larger firms that just don't want to work with a small town?
We can reach out, and I am meeting tomorrow with my neighbor down the road, a couple of things, so I'll bring that up to him as well.
and then the question about compensation.
Well, if we bid it, we pay what the bid rate is. I don't know, the town is willing to pay a premium fee for an audit. I don't know that would be well looked upon by taxpayers either.
But
You don't have a choice.
through the chair, but to be honest, we haven't even got anybody to bid back on it.
Yeah.
Because the people that CBIZ have let go are also doing the same thing that we're at, and they're probably in a better financial position being us being a smaller town compared to something on the South Shore. If, they're there's competition, but there's not competition because there's not a lot of not a lot of auditors in this area. And like Tom mentioned, that we can still go on with our free cash certification and our tax rate setting without unaudited statements, as long as we sign off that what we're providing to them is the best that we, to our knowledge, that they can set our tax rate and everything else.
Through the chair to Tom, reaching out to other towns to work with them, is that something that might be an appropriate topic for what I'm working on with these other towns?
I don't think so, to be honest. I think that they're all in pretty good shape. P-Town, I know, is good. And these other people I don't think had CBiz. I don't know that for a fact, but I don't think so.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Sue, for coming in for this. That's it,
Much
Mr.
more you
Chairman.
can say.
Through the chair.
Um,
On here that mentions the L pier and the ice machine.
Oh, L-Pier, I'm sorry. Just to update people, we have 2 applications in for L-Pier repair. That is fixing the part that burned. Under the existing permit, we can vacillate about 10% of the footprint. We have 1 application in with the Seaport Economic Council on its way for $1.1 million, because that's the number we had at the time. We have a request into Senator Markey's office for a directed funding, previously known as earmarks, for $1.4 million, which was put in a little higher because the price of everything we're doing right now is coming in high. Select Board member Lyons has been extremely helpful in helping advocate for that application. It's probably a 30-70 shot, to be honest. And if we are accepted, we will know late summer, early autumn.
Right.
Mr. Chair, does it include the replacement of the pilings? Because the pilings are like 50 years old.
Oh, we can do that too. It was going to be, from where it burned, where we have it closed out, so there'd certainly be new pilings on the out section, but I'm sure there's probably 10 or 14 maybe pilings out there.
I mean, the whole structure is supported on pilings.
Yeah.
And they're all
Yeah, they're old. We can probably do that.
It's all part of it, isn't it?
54.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's 54 that are going to be replaced.
Okay.
Thank you, John, for bringing that up.
And then would we be looking at some point replacing the unburnt section? Because again, just the material condition of it is generally poor.
Not in the amount of money that we've put forward in this application.
I get that for this
Okay.
application.
Yes,
I'm
well,
saying
at
in
some
the
point,
future.
we're going to need to rebuild the whole thing. Yes.
Okay.
And the ice machine.
Yes.
John.
Tom said be quick, so I'll make this quick. So the contractor, Applied Refrigeration has the contract. They're just going through their attorney. Everything is ready to go. The only thing we need is the legal contract from him signed. We will then sign it and issue the notice to proceed. So as soon as we get the approval from his attorney via him, off to the races, and hopefully we'll have this done. He said, I think last check, 3 weeks. So we'll hold him to that, but we got to get the contract signed first.
That's 3 weeks from signing the contract or 3 weeks from the conversation you had?
From the contract, from the notice to proceed date. So if I get it tomorrow and we return the signed, completed contract, it'll be 3 weeks from that date, according to him, assuming he gets his materials in a speedy fashion. So hopefully we are in the home stretch.
And thank you to Jay for getting that bituminous put in there around the pad. It looks really good, and it's going to flow right into the catch basins correctly, and thank you.
Yeah, definitely thank you to the DPW. They played a huge part in getting this ready for the next step in the process. So thank you to them.
We wouldn't be going anywhere without the WOA assistance as well.
Well,
And one other point, Mr. Chairman, unless
Please.
we have signed the contract with the APCC for the pond monitoring for the upcoming year.
excellent. Very good.
And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
I appreciate it, and I think it's now good practice to have your TA report at the top of the meeting.
I agree.
This was good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to public hearings. Public hearing A, to approve the reissue of Shellfish Grant License Number 851 due to name change. I now open the public hearing. Hi, Nancy, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So this is a couple that got married, and she changed her name to take his name, and would like her license reissued in both their names. I didn't see a problem with that. They paid the $175 ad fee, and it will be a quick turnaround.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah.
Anyone in the room? Anyone online? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye. Public hearing is now closed.
I move to approve the reissuance of Shellfish Grant License Number 851 to Devin Pickard and Benjamin Pickard.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye. Motion carries 5-0. Now on to public hearing B, to revise section 7.19.6, fines for gear violations to issue citations weekly instead of daily. I'm now going to open the public hearing. Please.
So we worked with Shellfish Advisory to revise this because it became difficult to issue a citation every single day. Put it in the mail, certified mail, cost a lot of money. Take it to the police, take it to the town clerk, and having to do that every day, and it has happened for the past at least 2 winters, or not just in the winter, but it has happened. And then when you get to the court magistrate, when somebody appeals it, they only make you pay one anyway. So it just seems like a waste of time and effort. And with Shellfish Advisory, we agreed that it wasn't acting certainly as a deterrent. So we changed it so that it would be the same cumulative money, $350 a week for noncompliance, but that the first fine would happen after the first 7 days of compliance, which it wasn't like that before. It was just a $50 ticket. So hoping that this would be more of a deterrent and that people would get into compliance quickly with their gear when found to be out of compliance.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just very quick, what is a magistrate typically only allow one of them to be paid?
I don't know. It's just my experience.
Okay.
Any public comment in the room? Anyone online? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Brian, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
Brian?
John, aye.
Oh, I already voted, sorry.
Josh, aye. Public hearing is now closed. Any discussion?
I move to amend or adopt the proposed amendments to section 7.19.6, fines for gear violations of the town of Wellfleet shellfishing policy and regulations as drafted in the select board's packet.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Moving on to public hearing C, to add section 4.15.1 harvesting restrictions to comply with Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries Permitting, Aquaculture, and Shellfish Handling Regulations. I am now going to open the public hearing on this.
Thank you. So the reason that we were adding this in is that it existed in the regulations under Chipman's Cove, but it is actually a regulation that is required by the state anywhere. So we thought that we would add it under like a generic section, methods of harvest, just to ensure that we were covered by the regulation. But one oversight that I had that I'd like to make a revision is just that we want to make sure that we're talking about on the flats, so in the intertidal area. So I would like to I'd like to, ask you to consider a modification 4.15.1, intertidal harvesting restrictions. And then it would read, all shellfish harvested in the wild are to be removed from the area at the time of harvest. No wild shellfish are to be left on the flats and removed at a later time of day by any means or methods.
Thank you. And that's what we have in our packet, so.
You do, except for the intertidal is not there, and I think it needs to be there.
That's on, right next to 14.15.1, it says harvesting, and you want to add the word intertidal before that.
Exactly.
I'm tracking.
I see.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just very quickly, rather than saying flat, should we say intertidal area?
That would be fine. We left on the intertidal flats, maybe?
All right.
On intertidal flats.
Yeah, something like that. I just see somebody trying to, in the future, to, say it's not clear enough or something. So intertidal would make sense to me.
Through the chair, so that would read, I move to add section 4.15.1, harvesting restrictions on intertidal flats.
Intertidal flats, and then I was offering an amendment, I guess, to the last sentence, which says no wild shellfish are to be left on the flats, so on and so forth. Instead, just add the word intertidal in front of flats as well.
If you flip to the third page, it's
Through the chair, could I maybe just read the whole thing straight through with
Please.
these two revisions?
Please.
Okay. So the addition of section 4.15.1, intertidal harvesting restrictions, under section 4.15, methods of harvest, to read, all shellfish harvested in the wild are to be removed from the area at the time of harvest. No wild shellfish are to be left on intertidal flats and removed at a later time of day by any means or methods.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
You, next to the word no, it's written no shellfish, and you said no wild shellfish. Do you want wild to be in there too?
Yes, I have that in the
Yeah, it
public
is.
hearing.
It says shellfish harvested in the wild.
Let me just see, did I,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, it's just not on what I'm looking at.
Are
I'm
to
sorry.
be removed from the area.
So, Mr. Chair, so the motion itself would read section 4.15.1, intertidal harvesting restrictions?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
That stays as it is?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I would say as amended instead of as presented. This is a public hearing, and I'll take comments in the room if there are any. Seeing none. Anyone online? Seeing none.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the hearing.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye. Public hearing is now closed.
I move.
Go ahead, John.
I move to add section 4.15.1, intertidal harvesting restrictions to the town of Wellfleet's shellfishing policy and regulations as amended in the Select Board packet.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. We're now moving to board committee appointments and updates. We have, first item in board and committee appointments is for the Marina Advisory Committee. I want to set a few ground rules to start so everyone understands how this process will work. It's going to follow a similar pattern to our discussion with the planning board. I'm going to invite every candidate up to the table. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, ask them why they want to serve and what qualifications and skill sets they have to contribute to the committee. I'm then going to open up for questions and comments from members of the board. After we do that for each candidate, I'm going to invite public comment if there is any, starting in the room and then going online. I'd like to remind everyone that it's the public's opportunity to give comment, but they're not here to question and interview the candidates. Because we have more applicants than available positions, I'm going to ask each member of the board, before we make motions, to offer who they believe they would like to see in the two positions. There are two openings. We'll have a discussion on that to try to find some type of consensus before we move to motions. I have found that in the past, when there are more applicants than seats, there seems to be a race to make the first motion, and I don't know if that's the most productive way to appoint candidates. So with that said, I'd like to invite Dave Zemba, please.
Good evening.
Good evening. First and foremost, I want to thank you for applying.
Thank you.
And would love to just have you introduce yourself, explain why you want to serve on this committee and what qualifications and skill sets and experiences you have that would be contributing factors to being on the advisory committee, please.
Well, my name is Dave Zimba. I've been a commercial fisherman for most of my life, over 30 years now. I have experience in several different ports in Massachusetts and beyond. I've fished many different fisheries. I've also recreated. I am an avid sailor. I went to the Thompson Island school, did the 2-week sailing program, which was pretty cool. We sailed from Boston to Gloucester, so I have a pretty well-rounded view of the harbor. It's in my best interest to see this place survive and thrive, not only for me, myself as a fisherman, but for the recreational community too. I feel I can offer efficiency and experience in many situations that are beneficial to the board.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yes.
Please.
To the chair. I actually have a couple. What is your view of the proportional support of the financial support of the marina divided between recreational boaters and the fishing community?
Well, my view on that is the town is really needs the recreational community for the financial support here. As the majority, obviously, they do command a very large portion of the revenue that goes into the town and the marina, and it's essential for everybody to contribute, I feel. But obviously I have to acknowledge the fact that they are the leading contributor. And fairness needs to be applied through the whole ranks of the system here. And I'd just like to see financially the harbor be sound and we be able to take on projects that are small without proposing to the taxpayer every time for an override. I think the harbor has the potential to do so and more, and I'd like to see the community engage with this process and come up with a good plan so that we have a sound future in this harbor.
And my second question has to do with the actual operation of the Marina Advisory Committee, on which I served for 8 years before I became a select board member. At the June 4th meeting, at about the 90-minute mark, there was basically a kind of an uproar. You spoke without being recognized, attacked the chair of the Marina Advisory Committee and the harbor master. And my question is, Is this kind of behavior something you would tolerate as a board member?
Well, I don't really believe my behavior was in the manner of attacking. I did not attack the harbor master in any way that meeting at all. I did express my feeling about my voice and opinion not being heard through several meetings. I was recognized at that moment, I do believe also.
You were asked to leave by the chair, through the chair, I'm sorry.
I was asked to sit down or leave, and I sat down.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Anyone else?
If I may.
Mr. Curley?
What do you see as ways to address some of the long-term issues facing the harbor, from dredging to maintenance of the facility? And what considerations do you think need to be taken into account as part of that?
Well, we need to obviously generate the money to try to contribute to these projects. I think we do need to review the fee schedule to come up to a market value with the harbor so that potentially we have the money available to fund these projects and keep everything safe and sound. And we've gotten to the point here where the facility is in dire need of upgrade and upkeep. And it's, a safety concern as well as a financial concern. And I think the harbor has the potential to aid some of these endeavors.
Anyone else from the board? I recall, this is maybe 5 months ago, you came to me with an alternative proposal for a fee schedule. And I thought it was well considered, and I thought it was a good opportunity to have a discussion on how we address fees in the marina. Sadly, I was traveling for work during the day of which we had the meeting, and I wasn't able to attend. But I'm wondering if you could just expand upon what motivated you to bring that to the board. There was a reasonable amount of frustration from some individuals in town that felt that you were going around the board. I didn't personally hold that feeling, but that was a conversation that was had among some people. And if you could just give us a little bit of context as to why you took it upon yourself to develop an alternative plan and bring it forward.
Well, at the previous year's meeting when we were discussing the fee schedule changes and bringing us up to an industry standard, I thought that, yes, it is time. I mean, we need to bring up the fees to a standard that can be acceptable to be able to operate this marina successfully. And I thought that the direction I was going was somewhere where the board was going also, but because of just a lack of ability to be able to be heard by the board, I decided that maybe I should try to present something sound also as an alternative. So, there's more than one being put around, and people can consider two different points of view and two different styles of generating revenue. I thought it necessary to generate at least a few $100,000 more, because in previous meetings we had been discussing that we were basically short a few $100,000 a year to be successful. So I just kind of basically took it upon myself to try to figure that out. And with the support of the harbor master also later, I found that we would probably try to work on it again later together. And I'd like to just try to see the harbor be successful, basically.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave Seitler, please.
It's clear. Doesn't feel like it, but it is.
Hey, I'm Dave Seitler. How you doing?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for putting your name forward. Appreciate it. If you could start by just introducing yourself, explain why you'd like to serve on this committee, and then what qualifications and skill sets and experiences you have to contribute, please.
So my name is Dave Seitler. I've lived in Wellfleet for 40 years, and I'm a commercial shell fisherman. I've been a fisherman. I have chaired the Shellfish Advisory Board. I've been on a committee before. I am a user of the harbor and the outward part of the harbor. I have a pretty like intimate knowledge between the workings of like shellfishing and how the marina is involved with that, that I believe that other people may not know where that middle ground is. I also work for the fishing partnership. I'm a marine safety instructor. I teach fishermen up and down the East Coast from Maine down to Norfolk, Virginia. Teach Coast Guards men and women down there. Certified drill conductor, same thing. Fishermen, Coast Guard men and women. Getting my wilderness EMT to do the same thing, to teach people how to survive in situations offshore and inshore. So, I would obviously be focused on like the safety of the marina, safety of the users, and to like really see how, in my eyes, I'd like to see like how the Marina Advisory Board and the Shellfish Advisory Board could come together and really meet in the middle and see like the commonality between where, like how that works, and then also between the Shellfish Department and the Harbor Master Department. So I also believe that, we had a meeting with John and one of the members from the Economic Seaport Council, the Harbor Master and Nancy, and they had, what he had said was that Wellfleet really needs some sense of advocacy, more advocacy in order to get more grant funding. And that doesn't just mean, like an individual, like we need like a group effort, like via WOA or some kind of group to speak on behalf of our community to get more money. So, I would want the board to find ways to do that. I haven't really seen that from the board, and I think the board just needs to be more proactive in finding solutions instead of, kind of whatever, so, yeah.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members?
I'm going to ask the same one of every applicant, so.
I'd also like to say too, I would agree with, John asked that question to Dave about the finances. I would have to agree completely with Dave on that also, so.
Okay. So what do you see as some of the ways of addressing long-term financial challenges facing the harbor, such as dredging, maintenance of the facility, and capital repairs? And what do you see as some of the considerations that need to be taken into account?
Well, again, I think that it would, be through trying to find more advocacy and finding more avenues to get more funding, grant funding specifically. From what I've seen is that the SEC has multiple opportunities to get shots at getting grant opportunities. So we can do that more often. We can do that every 6 months, more than once a year, and ask for more money instead of asking little bits at a time. Ask for all of it, I also believe, what was your second part of your question was what I would do down at the marina to make it better, I guess?
Well, how to address them and what considerations need to be taken into account?
So obviously the L pier really needs help more than just a repair. I think the basic infrastructure of the marina is lacking it seems like the state and the town is really trying to push shellfish production further. Also, recreational opportunities for all stakeholders, the dog walkers, everything. They're really trying to get that going. So I would make that more feasible. I mean, for example, like we're using the boat ramp to unload and load oysters. There's all that going on there. At the same time, people are trying to launch boats. There's people walking around in a circle there. We're trying to do too much with too little. So I guess like some of the things to consider about that would be, obviously funding, environmental impact, economic impact towards like shellfishing, and the recreational community. And just really considering all the stakeholders of the town and the harbor. So, yeah.
Hi, through the chair, Dave. Would you envision, for instance, when the funding does become available, which may be a while, to deal with the L Pier, both the immediate repairs and eventually, hopefully, the complete reconstruction of it, to work within the footprint, the 10% footprint, to make it more user-friendly to the shellfishing community, so that to take some of that load off the launch ramp and bring it over to the L Pier?
What are you asking?
Whether you would support devoting some funding towards redesigning the L Pier in such a way that it could be more useful for you guys, so that you don't have to spend so much time on the launch ramp unloading.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying in the beginning.
Move that over to the L Pier.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Anything else from the board? No. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Jennifer Flanagan, please.
How are you?
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Flanagan. I am not a shell fisherman, although I think you guys rock. I am someone who's lived in this town for 26 years now. I used to be far more active than I have in the last few years. I kind of needed to take a step back. I use the marina as much as possible. It is what keeps me going through the long rolls of the winter. And basically, I just saw where maybe I could help. I am highly organized. I like to think outside the box. And I see room for improvement, as has been said before. We need to bring up the fee schedule. It needs to be a little more in line with other towns. And we are very fortunate to have a mooring, but where our mooring is, I can watch people launch their boats, and I cannot believe there hasn't been more accidents. It's just, there's way too much congestion right there from a personal standpoint. And the infrastructure is falling apart. We need to figure out more ways to bring in revenue via fees, grants, to fix the structure that we have. Maybe expand it to be a little more friendly towards the fishing industry as well as the recreational boaters.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the board?
I'll go unless somebody else is.
Please.
So, as I said, I'm going to be asking the same question of everybody. So, what do you see as some of the ways of addressing long-term financial challenges facing the harbor, such as dredging, maintenance of the facility, and capital repairs? And what do you see as some of the considerations that need to be taken into account?
There needs to be a better balance. I'm not going to lie, as someone who is a recreational boater, I think we need to do a little bit better for our fishermen in this town. They need a better infrastructure, and I think we need to be a little bit more on it to help them figure out what's going to work and be cohesive. And I'm not saying that we don't need the recreational people because that's where we probably get more of our income from. As I said before, we need to research more grants. We need to raise the fees. And I mean, I'm talking about raising fees on myself. So the L pier needs to be repaired. It probably, on a closer inspection of somebody who is a structural engineer that I am not, it probably needs to be replaced. And I know we're not anywhere close to that, but that's something that needs to be addressed instead of putting Band-Aids on things, finding a better way to approach it.
Anyone else from the board? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Randall Emons, please. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good.
Hi, I'm Randy Emmons. Go by Randy.
Excuse me.
No,
Emmons,
no
yes,
problem.
Emmons.
I put Randall on there. I recently made my residence in Wellfleet. I first came here in 1981, got engaged to my wife. We got married here in '82. Her family's had a home here forever. We currently live in the old family home that we bought, and my son and daughter-in-law and grandsons live here. It's Alex Emmons. So we have a lot of ties here. I've only summered here until recently, till 3 or 4 years ago I retired. My background is I ran a small business in Pennsylvania for manufacturing. We took big rolls of tape and we made little rolls of tape. It was pretty simple. Done lots of other things. Before that, I sailed on merchant ships for a little while, a tanker and another cargo ship. Been around the ocean my whole life. I grew up in Southern California. Bought my first boat when I was 22. I worked on a sword fishing boat out there for a little while. And then I went back to school, graduated when I was 33 with a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Houston. I thought I could contribute a lot of good ideas from these other applicants. I have maybe a fresher look at this. We've had a boat in the marina since 1981 or before, really. So anyway, that's my background.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? John?
I see you do have a background in mechanical engineering. How do you see that as perhaps aiding you in a potential role on the committee?
Well, the basic philosophy of engineering is to break things down into small, solvable units, and then putting those together. So it's just a problem-solving philosophy, a way of looking at things. So with the LPIR, you break it down. What's required and what equipment do the fishermen need to get their oysters, their shellfish off their boats onto the dock. I haven't seen it recently because the L Pier burned, but I mean, I remember seeing trucks backed up on the L Pier unloading oysters and other shellfish all the time. So it's obviously a solvable problem with the congestion. Just better equipment on the L Pier to help with the labor of doing all that. So.
All we need is money.
Yeah.
And I probably should have asked this. I know two applicants have a lot of experience with the Marina Advisory. Have you ever attended any of those or watched them? Or?
I have not.
You have not. Okay.
Yep.
I'm just interested.
Yep.
All right.
So what do you see as some of the ways to address some of the long-term financial challenges at the marina, such as the maintenance of the facility, capital repairs and dredging, and what considerations do you think need to be taken into account during that?
And I haven't been involved with marinas on a management basis at all, but small businesses have to make money, and they have to do it by providing a product or service. And the marina is providing a product and service. We need to, I know it's a government organization, I know there are grants available, but I'd also like to see the marina be able to provide an income or a source of funds for the town itself, and explore other ways of that happening. Besides maybe just charging the boat, the people who use it, but obviously you have to charge a fair fee, and one that will attract new users or be able to expand that market.
Anyone else from the board? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this point, I'll take any public comment if there is any, starting with the room. Seeing none. Anyone online? Seeing none. Very well. I want to say thank you to all the applicants. It's refreshing to have an abundance of willingness to volunteer for your town, so thank you. We do have 2 vacancies and we have 4 applicants, so I'd like to go around the table and try to find where people are feeling and where we should be filling these roles, please.
Just to be clear, we have 4 applicants, we have 2 voting positions.
Correct.
And don't we have 1 alternate? Oh, no, we don't.
No.
Not yet.
No.
Okay.
It's 4. It's 2 voting positions are open.
Okay.
Would anyone like to begin?
Well, okay.
Please.
I'll take the bait. I think it's important to maintain a balance on the board of between the recreational boating community and the fishing community. The needs are not that disparate, and it's a case of, in effect, one hand washing the other. The majority of the financial support does come from the recreational boating community. As I understand it, from the harbor master, approximately 15% of the uses of the marina are commercial between fishermen and charters, and the rest is recreational. We currently have something of a balance, and it'd be good to maintain that. And so I would start from that premise. And I would personally like to see Mr. Seitler represent the fishing community.
How does everyone else feel?
I agree with John's approach. I would also support Mr. Seitler, and I'll address the recreational side if I could. We have 2 candidates, 2 applicants who could represent that or do represent that, and it's sort of hard to decide between the 2 because they both offer a great deal in their own way. I am prepared to support Jennifer Flanagan. I really respect your experience. Among other things, as president of the PTA, I realize this is a different kind of position, but I think having a fresh voice but someone who's been very experienced in town matters, that is a really valuable experience to bring. So those are the 2 I would support. Thank you.
Sheila, Ryan, do you have an opinion?
Well, I mean, it's very hard. They're all very good, and, there's been a lot of issues with the advisory that I hope it will be a real working team going forward. I agree with you on Jennifer Flanagan. I think that she brings a fresh perspective and someone who has been using the marina for, personal solace in some ways, so a real love of it, which is a great thing, and I think it goes a long way. But I also think that it's, a benefit to have mechanical engineering and an understanding of not just the structural issues in seeing that need, but running a business and how not only do you help that business grow, but do that personal outreach and customer service. So there's good points on all. As far as the two applicants who are fishermen, I think they both bring it's very hard to decide. I mean, I think they both are sincere. I think they both get it. They probably agree with each other in a lot of ways. And I haven't made up my mind yet.
I'll go. Sometimes people are portraying, fishermen as receiving different levels of attention than rec, or a conflict between the two. But fundamentally, oftentimes grant funding is tied to commercial fishing, much more so than if you're strictly a recreational facility. So, you have a much better proposal whenever you can show that there's people's livelihoods that are directly affected and be affected positively, hopefully, in any grant application, because that's, the economic development aspect of it that they're really looking for. I'm having a hard time myself. I've known both the Daves my whole life. And Jennifer Flanagan is also awesome. And Mr. Emmons would bring something as well. I kind of wish we had a few more seats, but, it is what it is. I just want to say that, when we did have the hearing for the fee schedules, Mr. Zimba did look at some of the neighboring marinas and what they were charging to try to see, what reasonable comps there were for Wellfleet. He did that of his own initiative, and that's something as well. But yeah, I'm having a hard time, so.
I suppose I might go on a slightly different tack than my colleague, Mr. Wolf. But I want to defer to his judgment, being on the advisory committee for so long. I suppose if we're looking at long-term investment needs of the marina, it seems to me that the commercial investment is going to be larger than the recreational investment, but I could be wrong about that. So I guess I'm curious to know if you feel that we need a larger voice from the commercial side of our marina on advisory, or not.
I think the balance reflects the balance. It's a small, 7-member board. So if you have, say, three people, right now we have someone from the charter industry on the board. We have someone from commercial shellfish industry on the board. An additional person from the shellfish community would bring that to three out of 7. I think the board as a whole, even as constituted now, recognizes the importance of maintaining the marina as a viable commercial fishing port, and that the source of grant money is likely to reflect that. On the other hand, as I stated earlier, financially, as far as the fee basis is concerned, it's supported by primarily by the recreational boaters with the slip fees. I think that the current, that 3 to 7 component would probably accurately reflect things as they should be, and also given the makeup of the board and the willingness of all the board to be involved in looking for grants and so forth, I don't think that would be an issue no matter which way it's weighted.
I suppose for discussion, I know we do want to get to motion soon, but the reason why I brought this up is that I feel the problem solving is going to be more on how do we improve our marina for commercial activity. We know we need a tremendous amount of capital investment, but every time we need capital investment, we have an opportunity to improve and change layouts and change operations. And so I'm just trying to get a grasp on if we need a larger commercial voice on it or giving advice to the select board. And if now that we're given the opportunity, would that be fruitful? Or maybe, to your point, it's important to keep the balance we have.
Yeah, I don't think that we need that. And for when these issues come up before the committee, fishermen as well as recreational boaters weigh in as a matter of routine, and often with very constructive input, which the committee then brings to the select board.
Sure.
And then usually these are subjects of public hearings with the select board, so there's another opportunity for representative of the fishing community as well as the recreational community to weigh in. So I don't think we need to change that proportion personally.
Mr. Chair. This is, I'm in my beginning of my third term, which is crazy. The relationship between the Marine Advisory Committee and shell fishermen, which both of the Daves are, has often been pretty contentious. They've frequently complained about shell fishermen. They've objected to multiple layouts for grants and grant extensions. And it's often been fairly contentious. So I do think there needs to be a larger voice there. It's only recently that we actually have, William Barrio serving on there, because before there wasn't really a commercial shell fisherman that was a member of the Marine Advisory Committee. They definitely need a voice there, and more than one, because people will bring different perspectives on how to solve the same issues that they both see every day. But yeah, I mean, the status quo of the committee does need to change, just because of the needs that are present there currently, and I'm not sure the best way of doing it. So,
Are you
I'm open
considering opening?
Yes.
Anybody else with public comment on this, or?
Oh, I asked for public comment. There was none.
Oh, well, maybe not on particular people, but maybe on if there are members of the community that have a perspective on what you're asking.
Yeah. If there's any public comment in the room, I'm happy to take it.
Oh, I was thinking of not applicants themselves, but go ahead.
Well, I'm public.
Take the chance, man.
Yeah, so when Dave, when he made that fee schedule, I was supporting him the whole time. He actually was the one who showed it to me, and I was like, dude, you have to show somebody this. Like, this is what you need to do. Also, in that meeting with the SEC member that John and I and everybody met with, he said we need to lean into the fishing community. We need to lean into. I think it would be 100% helpful to have more commercial shell fishermen and shell fishermen on that board as of late, not only just because of exactly what you said, Josh, of, there is going to be more money brought in through that way. That's how you get grant funding. But also, this is about like the next generation of people, and as someone in their 40s, I feel like this is kind of like our chance to fix up this place for the next people, and I think having Dave there would be super helpful. So, yeah.
I see James Gray is online.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm James Gray. I'm a member of the Marine Advisory Committee. I just got a question. Are you guys filling positions that are voting members, or do the current voting member alternates become voting members?
We are hearing applications for the two vacancies for voting members.
So that's how that works? They don't move the current alternates up to voting?
Not automatically, sir, no. You would have to apply to be appointed from an alternate to a full member, or go through the same cycle as these folks here tonight.
All right, thanks.
I just want to say that if appointed as a member, I would equally represent both communities. I understand the recreational needs in this harbor as well as the commercial needs, and I feel that there needs to be a balance to it, and we need more engagement from the fishermen, and at times in the past, the fishermen have decided to take a seat because we were not being listened to. It's, something that needed to be addressed, and hopefully we can address it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll take a motion from the board if anyone has one. It can be as an individual or as a group.
So I have one other question.
Please.
So by doing these appointments, does it open up alternates?
No.
Oh, it doesn't, so they're not from the alternate
Right.
Pool, okay. Because I was going to say that the other two could get as alternates, which would have made everything much easier. I think at the risk of offending all recreational members of the committee and of the people who use this, I would probably vote for the two Daves.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion that I would appoint Dave Seitler and Dave Ziemba.
Would you mind reading the full motion?
We can't
Chair,
appoint two people at once.
Oh, okay.
We just did last week, remember?
Hold on, please.
So I tried to do
Hold on.
them separately.
Hold on, please.
Right.
A member can make a motion that have multiple members at once.
Okay.
That is, if that is the motion that wants to be made.
I'll second the
Hold
motion.
on, wait, but please,
Want me to
if
read
we're
the
going to
whole-
make
do
it,
you want me to
please
read
make the
the-
full motion with the term.
Right, so I move to appoint Dave Ziemba and Dave Seitler as voting members to the Marina Advisory for a 3-year term and to be sworn in by the town clerk before voting on any upcoming meetings.
I'll second the motion, and just for discussion.
Discussion. That's fine, we got to get that
So,
all wrong.
I would say that I'd imagine there's some differing opinions, and this is why I generally prefer to take votes as an individual basis rather than as slates, because there can be differences of opinions, where people support one person and not the other, and it just happens, and I think it's more respectful for the entirety of the board and board members if we take those individual any appointments as individual votes, because, as I said, there can be differences of opinion. So,
Through the chair, I agree with Ryan, and so I would like to, however procedurally it can be accomplished, separate out votes.
Well, a motion has been made and seconded, so you would have to make an amendment to, or you can rescind.
we could vote the motion and then do it over, a
do that.
separate motion, or.
That's how we would prefer. Any more discussion?
So do you want me to
Very well.
withdraw the motion?
It's your prerogative.
I mean, I can, if this is the way you want to go. I mean, I'm not,
Sounds like that's probably the most efficient.
okay, so
way
I
to vote.
withdraw the motion.
Do you withdraw your second?
I do.
Member Lyons, do you have a new motion, please?
I would, I move to appoint Dave Ziemba as a voting member to the Marina Advisory for a 3-year term to be sworn in, and to be sworn in by the town clerk before voting on an upcoming meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, no.
Sheila, aye.
John, no.
Josh, aye. Members appointed by 3-2.
You want my second one, and people can go from there, or if somebody can do something different?
I would recommend doing your second motion as well. Unless somebody,
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that I move to appoint Dave Seitler as a voting member of the Marina Advisory Committee for a 3-year term to be sworn in by the town clerk before voting at an upcoming meeting.
I'll
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye.
Okay.
Motion carries 5-0. I want to thank everyone again for applying.
Sorry, but I thank you.
And I'm going to ask the executive assistant to make sure that if new positions do open, that you're notified.
Yes, that you're notified, because I think it would be great to have your expertise, even as an alternate.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Could I just add that, through the chair, that there's nothing wrong with an alternate position when it becomes available. You are able to participate in the discussions, just not in the vote unless there's a missing member.
And it doesn't mean you can't keep your cards and letters being sent in, as if you have comments that you want to add or advice to give. Anyone can do that to any of the committees.
All right. Very well. Moving on to board committee appointments B. So I put this on the agenda, and Member Carboni has to recuse herself. The Herring River Executive Council is composed of 5 members. 2 of the members are from the Cape Cod National Seashore, which is the superintendent and one of their designees. The town of Wellfleet is represented by 3 individuals. As articulated in MOU 4, it is the town administrator and 2 members of the select board or their designees. At present, we currently have 1 individual that was formerly on the select board that has resigned from their position, so we have an opening. At this point, we need to appoint our 3rd representative. We currently have Member Lyons as a member of the Herring River Executive Council, and Ms. Wilson as a member of the Executive Council. I'll get the ball rolling, but I'd like to hear from members of the board and then also members from the public, if they have any opinions. But I think at this junction, when we have the infrastructure component of this project nearing completion and we're really moving into restoration, it's really important for us to have our town administrator back in a administrative capacity on the executive council. And so there's going to be a tremendous amount of collaboration needed between DPW, the project administration anyways. And so I think it's appropriate at this time for Mr. Garino to be appointed as a member of the executive council.
Does Mr. Garino, if I may ask, are you agreeable to that,
Yes.
Mr. Garino? So, okay, I thought this was on here just to inform the public, and other people might want to weigh in.
Through the chair, we know Tom doesn't have enough to do. So.
I know. That's absolutely true.
I do think it's, through the chair, I'm sorry, Mr. Justin. I do think it's important that there's continuity from administration to the departments from these meetings as well. I'm getting it from the department up.
Okay.
And it's always good, but I just think going forward, as we do restoration and implementation and maintenance and all of the things that is going to take more time than I think we realized out of DPW and others. I think I need to be there at this point.
Mr. Curley?
So respectfully, I don't think administration is best suited for restoration work. That's more of a, yes, there's going to be a lot of involvement by town staff and everything, but the largest administrative portion of it is basically the construction of the infrastructure, which we're approaching being done. From there, it's going to be decision making about how much additional, how much further open the tidal gates to allow for more water in based off of the environmental conditions that are found there, and so I would be more comfortable with somebody that has more of a background in environmental science, because that is ultimately what it's going to be. It doesn't mean that the town doesn't have a voice or not, but I think we should be taking applications to see if we can find somebody who might have an environmental science background, who can help make those decisions when they're made based off of, because they're going to be receiving basically scientific reports and having to make decisions off of those. And that's kind of, that's what I'm feeling.
I suppose another way to look at it is we are going to begin a restoration process that has an opportunity to have a lot of unforeseen consequences and a tremendous amount of benefits. But we could potentially see scenarios in which the town really does need to be kept not only aware, but very much in the discussion at the executive level. I think that the MOU was structured in a way that was smart to have the TA as a named partner on this executive council. And so while I absolutely respect Mr. Curley's perspective, I think that the executive council is well represented by environmental science experts currently.
That make things very easy to digest.
Absolutely, and supported by a technical team. Again, it's only my opinion, but I do think that town administration should be on the executive council moving forward.
I don't have a problem.
I want to see if anyone from the public has any opinion on this.
No. Is there
any public comment on this topic? I imagine so.
I'm not making a joke here. For those of you standing behind me, I sat down in a puddle before I came. No, it's noticeable. I'm not trying to be funny. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So my name's Helen Miranda Wilson. I've been involved with the project since I was on the select board, and we approved MOU 1. I was slightly less involved in MOU 2. I was very involved in MOU 3 and very, very involved in MOU 4. I would trust Tom Garino, our town administrator, to be the best thing that could happen at any committee meeting. But I absolutely, from long experience, think that having staff put in the position of having to be on a committee is a mistake. It's too many conflicts, and we need the outside staff support. The other thing none of you may know is that the language that's right now in MOU 4 that has one possibility being there could be a town administrator on the Herring River Executive Council, there could be a select board member and another one. That is language that got dragged forward from MOU 1. I reread all the MOUs this afternoon. And the first thing in MOU 1 was the select board working with the park administrator. Okay? It progressed. MOU 3 had, get this, 7 people. 3 from Truro, who dropped out after MOU 3 was signed. And they dropped out in 2018. 3 people from Truro and Wellfleet, and 3 people, 1 person from the park, 7 people. And that was kind of a mess. I was on the board. I got on the board at the end of that. MOU 3 was better than the other 2. We were farther along. But MOU 4, the discussion around who should be on the Herring River Executive Council was about having people who had the accrued body of knowledge over all those years, because this is not like being on a regulatory board where you apply a jurisdiction, the statutes of a jurisdiction on an applicant's case, right? and you decide on it, you deliberate on it, and then it's over. This is like one giant agenda item that goes through decades. And that is why that additional part of that section in MOU 4 is there, because I think that anybody you appoint to the HREC should have a body of knowledge about it. When I learned that my colleague Janet Reinhardt had submitted her resignation, which just happened, I immediately started thinking of people who might have an environmental background, a background of deep knowledge about the project as it's developed over the years. And both Sheila and I, and also Janet at the time, had that. I'm allowed to sit in on the Herring River technical team meetings. I learn a lot. I don't participate, really. I'm just there trying to be able to do a good vote. But first of all, I don't think anybody should be voted on tonight, because you should cast a wide net. This is a very important position going forward. And I agree with Josh, it's come to a new stage. But particularly for that reason, we need staff support, but we need to have people on the actual decision-making group who are not, how shall I say, co-parenting with the park this very important move forward. I'm super aware of it. The rubber is about to meet the road, and we need all the support we can get, but we don't need the conflict of having somebody the town pays who is in charge of a separate set of things and works for the five of you. Because you guys can approve the contracts, but you need to be in a relationship, in my opinion, of checks and balances with the Herring River Executive Council, okay? We don't need you to be the same people, and I'm going to remind you again, I've already said it, that language was carried over, I feel, carelessly, instead of just saying, you need to appoint people who have quantity and quality of knowledge about the project and who can work independently with the park in something that's very special, which is an intergovernmental committee. The feds don't usually do this, and we've been going forward in a really good way. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience?
I just, all are very good comments, and I certainly respect all of the comments, but I do want to bring up my work with the National Rural Development Partnership and the multi-agency work that we did there, and also the work with the Connecticut River Diversion, which it was a multi-agency, we were opposition, but I have worked on large multi-year projects in the past, but it's up to the board, and I will take my direction from the board.
How do we feel?
I hear what Helen is saying to give it to put it out there, but I also agree that Tom is capable of handling the information and would have an understanding of what's needed. And, so it's up to you, Mr. Chair. If you want to proceed with this, we can take a vote.
I mean, if anyone's ready to make a motion, I'll take it. If we feel like we want to wait, I'm okay with that. I think
John?
we shouldn't wait too long, but.
What's the timetable in terms of waiting?
There's no timetable necessarily. The resignation was just made. Ideally, you don't want to leave the seat vacant for very long, just because I don't know what your meeting schedule might be, but that might be helpful.
Something to add in why there's a modest amount of, I wouldn't call it urgency, but just timeliness, is that the last HREC meeting that was had a few weeks ago almost didn't have quorum, right? you know, there was only one representative from the park, not both of them. And so and we had an empty seat because Ms. Reinhardt had believed she had resigned a year ago. Turns out that it was never actually communicated. So we've been operating with an empty seat on our side, and fairly recently, the superintendent of the park has been called to a regional office and didn't attend that last meeting.
Bless you.
It sounds like the executive council traditionally meets on a quarterly basis, but has been planning on meeting more often as it gets closer to restoration. And so I do think we should have representation, but more importantly, not just representation, but just a deliberating body that has enough great minds to make great decisions for this project. So I'm in favor of appointing the town administrator. If my colleagues feel like we should wait, we can do that as well.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Please.
I move to appoint Town Administrator Tom Garino as a voting member of the Herring River Executive Committee.
Second.
Just for discussion.
Please.
Considering his position, his term should run through whatever the length of time period he's employed by the town. I know when Dan Hort was the town administrator, there was like a month or two where he was still on the HREC because he had to submit a separate resignation for that. And so it should at least just, go through the time period of when he is a town administrator. Obviously, none of us know the future. Anything could happen. But I think that would be.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not looking to go after you. I'm
joking.
All right. Do you accept that friendly amendment?
Run that by me again.
Through the term of my employment.
Instead of 3 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Does the seconder accept the friendly amendment? Sheila?
Yes.
Fabulous. Roll call vote?
Ryan, no. I just think, yeah.
John, aye.
Sheila?
I'll vote aye.
Josh, aye. Motion carries 3-1.
With one recusal.
With one recusal. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now on to business A. Herring River again. Westonson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Select Board members and town governance and the public. I'm here to update the Select Board and the public on some construction activities that are going to be taking place down at the Chiquesta Neck Road Bridge. We have some, if anybody's been down there recently, we have some impending removal of the temporary bridge, which is a big milestone for the project. We also have some overlapping work with the low-lying roads that everybody, I'm sure, is aware of if they go to the town dump here. And first and foremost, I know there's a lot of things cooking, and I want to offer an apology if there's ever been any lack of communication with all the work that we've been trying to do. We're trying to dovetail a lot of things happening at once. And I know that there's some inconveniences and some concerns that surround this issue. So I do want to offer that mea culpa and try to do my best to lay out our plan and to lay out what we've implemented to get this done. So starting this week, we're going to be removing 2 of the shorter sections of the temporary bridge. It's broken into 4 sections. That can be all done off-road. Next week, we have to set up a crane on the bridge to assist in removal of the 2 100-foot sections. That crane setup is going to require a shutdown of anywhere between 4 and 8 hours, hopefully on the earlier end of that, thereby essentially cutting off access to Griffin's Island for that time period. The first pick is scheduled to occur on Tuesday, July 14th. MIG Construction has their crane coming in on Monday. They will dress the crane on Monday, get it prepared. At 7 a.m., they anticipate getting out on the bridge, making their pick, and then demobilizing off the bridge. The following day, Wednesday, July 15th, once again, they will remobilize onto the bridge at 7 a.m., pick the second structure, set it on the abutment, and then demobilize off the bridge. There is a third pick that will require staging on the crane, and that is due to the removal of the pier, the center pier that has 8 pipe piles and the concrete that surrounds it. And that is the pier cap, the concrete that holds the piers, will be cut into 3 sections leading up to that, and then the crane will mobilize, and that's scheduled to happen the week of August 10th. I don't have an exact date on that, but that's what we're tracking. In anticipation of this work, we've consulted with the fire department, and they've put together a incident response action or incident, what is it? IRA.
Response.
Sorry, I want to get it right. Thank you. I called it an emergency response plan, but incident action plan, IAP. So they've developed an IAP whereby Deputy Chief Clark and Chief Capello put this together for us, and they anticipate we'll have a fire detail staged on the south side of the bridge, the town side of the bridge, with a piece of town apparatus and ambulance there. They will also have a UAV, a small 4-wheeler type vehicle, and they do have the ability to pass from the south side of the bridge to the north side of the bridge should an emergency occur. They can retrieve or perform whatever action they need and bring somebody back to their ambulance on the south side of the bridge. That will be utilizing a piece of town-owned equipment, but the fire detail itself will be a paid detail outside of the on-duty staff. In addition to that, we will employ 2 police details on both of those days, and we will have details scheduled as well for Thursday in case there's any sort of delay or incident that pushes us. And then on Monday, we will have a police detail as well to be there to notify comers and goers of the impending action. Tomorrow, I anticipate distributing flyers to those 8 residents or 8 properties on Griffin's Island, in addition to deploying signs notifying people of their anticipated delay that will occur next week. I know initially in the December 17th Select Board meeting that we had discussed the utilization of the High Toss Road Causeway as a potential emergency access route. We had, in fact, pushed the removal of that High Toss Road Causeway and culvert from our winter time of year period, which stretches from November 15th to March 15th, with the anticipating that the temporary bridge removal would happen this spring. That did not happen. It is now July, and now we're in another time of year window. This is a time of year window when you can do in-water work. So the temporary bridge removal and the pier removal would be in-water work, and the causeway and culvert removal are also in-water work. So those can only be done in specific time windows. That would be November 15th to March 15th, and July 1st to September 1st, and that's for American eel and herring time of year restrictions that's implemented by the regulatory agencies, Department of Marine Fisheries. So we're in this perfect storm where we lost that ability to use that causeway, and in consultation with the fire department, they indicated that there was they could not utilize that causeway for accessing Griffin's Island with their apparatus, their fire trucks and ambulances. So while it would have been obviously beneficial and better to have that, I feel as though in consultation with the fire department, their emergency action plan is sufficient to their likings on the island. So that is what we have laid out, and I just wanted to update the public that this was happening. And I know that this is coming up in the very near term, and I apologize for not being farther ahead of this. It's kind of, again, everything's kind of coming to a head. Not only do we have the causeway and culvert to remove in this time of year restriction, but we also are having upcoming installation of another culvert on, I guess, would be Old County Road, just north of Bound Brook Island on Bound Brook. That has to happen within the time of year window as well. Again, July and August. So the causeway and culvert have to get removed, and then culvert, what we call culvert number 3 on Bound Brook, needs to be installed. That work is going to start happening immediately after removal of the causeway and culvert, which started this week. And that will see a permanent 24/7 detour implemented as early as next week, starting from Pammit Point Road south to what we call Boundbrook Island Road west, accessing the island. So that will also occur. So there's a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of things happening, and just wanted to bring that update to the board and the public, and welcome any questions. And again, offer my apologies for any delay or lack of heads up on this impact.
Thank you. Anyone from the board?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something you said. You said that you were, in trying to figure out how to make the, safety precautions, you were going to use part of a causeway, and you realized that wasn't going to work.
Well,
so did we delay something? Did something get delayed by just trying to pursue that?
It did in a way, in the sense that we could have removed that causeway and culvert this winter in that time of year window, which would have been November 15th to March 15th. In the pursuit of utilizing the causeway as a potential access to Griffin's Island during the removal of the temporary bridge, which we would know cut off access at the new CNR bridge, we delayed that. In consultation with the fire department, they indicated that would not really serve as, a pathway for apparatus.
Right. That's unfortunate. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have one more thing to add to that, Wes. In addition to what Wes just described about delaying the removal for that, another reason why the removal was delayed was because there was a town meeting vote to officially discontinue use of that High Toss Road section of roadway. So we also wanted to wait until that whole process was undertaken as well. Even though it was already decided and approved, we just wanted to make sure it was completely closed and official. So that was another reason.
I just want to add that I appreciate, it's not like you've been sitting there, not doing much, and we're under this gun. We've had weather incidences. We had, in addition to a snow, we had a rain that was sort of, it wasn't unprecedented, but it was very unusual. So I know you're feeling under the gun, Wes, but I know that some of these things are beyond your control, and I appreciate you trying to meet everybody's wants and desires, but it is what it is, and I think a lot of people do understand what's happening here. Okay, it's an inconvenience for the summer for some people, but it's going to be a much better outcome in the end. So I just wanted to recognize the work you're trying to get done and how you're trying to get it done. And I thank you.
Mr. Curley?
So those morning tides for both those dates, they're minus tides. They're early. The 14th is, let's see, I pulled them up. The 14th, it's a -1, lows at 6. The 15th, it's a -1.2, and the low is at about 7. So if there is a road closure starting at 7 or thereabouts and goes 6 to 8 hours, there needs to be some way of controlling access before then, because shell fishermen will be going out there early in the morning to fish those tides, and the last thing you want them to do is come off after working the flat, coming back and realizing that they can't get off the island, and even more so that now they can't land any of the catch they just caught because you're outside of the window that's allowed. So I would definitely recommend, getting in touch with the shellfish constable, see what she can do to get the message out there. But on the days that these closures happen, there has to be somebody or some way of limiting access well before the time period when the closure itself will occur.
So that's, I do have, the police detail is scheduled to come in at 6 a.m. I anticipate being there with Dawn and getting the word out and really essentially standing there and letting people know. In addition, before that crane actually moves onto the bridge, I anticipate having a police officer and or myself do a sweep of both Duck Harbor Beach parking lot, Great Island parking lot, and just, once again, just trying to get the communication out there.
Their cars will be there, but they won't be there.
I understand, yeah.
So, and you know, even at 6, they're going out sometimes if it's a 6 o'clock tide, basically a 6 a.m. tide, and it's minus tide, which is a great tide to fish. They're going out there much earlier than that. They'll be out there at the crack of dawn to fish those tides.
I'd like to take a moment and our shellfish constable would like to jump in.
Is she on?
Yeah, she has her hand raised.
All right.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So just, sometimes there are, sometimes that area over the bridge is fished. That has not been fished at all this entire season. I don't expect anybody to be going over there. I can put it in a crier, no problem, just so that people are aware. But there's nobody fishing, there's nobody accessing the Herring River from the other side of the Chequesset Neck Bridge this year. So I'm not anticipating any problems, and I can certainly put it in a crier. Thank you.
Okay, and then also the Bayside Beach there, sometimes people fish that.
I just want to add that I think that we have some responsibility in getting that word out as well. I mean, this is sort of a joint project here. And, maybe we can help Nancy get a flyer that's handed to people that are the marina, all of the shellfish advisory can get that word out. And to anyone who thinks they're going to recreational fish, that can be a flyer when they go to get their license or getting an update somehow, and maybe putting it on our website. So I think that there's a lot of ways that we can assist in getting that word out so that there's nobody saying, shucks, I got up here early and now I can't do it.
Nancy?
Thank you.
Through the chair, did you call on me?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So the only way right now that shell fishermen are accessing the Herring River is through Powers Landing and taking the beach road, taking the beach access from Powers Landing, going west and following it around and parking there. There are a couple of people who've been parking up top across from the Osprey Nest, which is at the Chequesset Yacht and Country Club, but nobody has been accessing the Herring River nobody's going down and over the bridge, and there is no, the Bayside Beach, so the Cape Cod Bay Beach is not an area where the shellfish regulations allow harvest. So from Duck Harbor to the Gut, anything on the outside on the Cape Cod Bay side, that is not a CCB, a Cape Cod Bay designated shellfish and growing area that the town allows shellfish harvest from. And we don't even patrol it, but we do go over there to patrol the closed area, which we can do from the beach for those 2 days.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Thank you. Could we do an R911 for that area as well? I'm concerned. The flyers are great. Knocking on doors is great, but it's summertime. Some people may be away and just coming up for the weekend. Some people may just be away for the day. They may be renting for the week, and they may just be away doing family things. Perhaps an R911 leaving a message. I would suggest phone calling people if you have their contact number, emailing people if you have their contact number. I think the most avenues that you can get to make sure people are aware, the better the outcome, I think, will be.
Yeah, if there's any kind of, I don't want to say like a Rolodex or something, somebody that has those contacts on Griffin's Island.
So, yeah, hi.
He's looking at you.
I'm happy to have almost everyone's contact information. I'm happy to give it to you. I'm concerned that one property owner does rent their house seasonally, occasionally. And so I want to, it's unfortunate, but this is inevitable. This is going to happen. We knew that. So, I'm not concerned about the inconvenience, but I do think that one property owner might be if they have guests and they're told that they can't leave their house for 2 days. Although it's a very nice house. But I can certainly help you, with contact information. Back to Member Lyon's point, the use of the High Toss Road causeway was never really for apparatus. It was for individuals that if they had to evacuate quickly, they had a means of egress, which up until yesterday was doable. It's very frustrating that we removed the causeway before we disassembled the bridge. It's a matter of 10 days' time. Right? We could have staggered differently. I really don't want to litigate it, but it is disappointing to hear that. But I'm glad that we have an IEP in place. And I think that, give me a moment, please. I want to echo my colleagues. So people on Griffin Island at the crack of dawn. I don't know what signage we can install to alert people. I don't know if, we want to install some type of a slalom gate. Right? I'm thinking of some residential neighborhoods use those to slow people down. That just really clearly, explicitly states that from X hours to X hours, you will not be able to leave if you go over the bridge. There's not a lot of us on the other side, so we'll all be informed. But I think it would be a tremendous inconvenience if you came over early and then got stuck. And so we just would very much like for that to be avoided if possible. I wish you the best of luck in your removal. I know this is a very, very difficult, job to do. And I know that you're working very hard with all the engineers and technical team to find a way to do it. So just want to confirm, it's Tuesday, July 14th, Wednesday, July 15th, starting at 7 a.m. The bridge will be impassable, roughly 6 to 8 hours.
Roughly 6 to 8 hours with the hopes that it's, as quickly as possible.
Yep. Right. And then August 10th, tentative date. When do you expect to know that date?
I will confirm that date as soon as possible. Right now, I know the week of August 10th. Okay. I don't have that date. I don't know. I know that we anticipate having a dedicated Heron River project meeting, where I know this is just one item on a list of many other items that we want to cover.
Yep.
So ideally, I could have more information for you at that meeting.
Anyone else from the board? Town administration?
Well, Ryan had his.
So I know there's, I forget the acronym, the incident response. What happens if somebody has a medical event that requires them to be transported to like the Cape Cod Hospital or elsewhere?
So the IEP does address that. We're going to be having 2 firefighters, EMTs or paramedics standing by on the island. We're going to have a engine there, as well as our UTV. The UTV will respond to any medical calls, initiate treatment, and we'll use the UTV to transport that person to the other side of the bridge where the on-duty crew will be with the ambulance, and we'll be able to transport them to the hospital with really minimal delay to that patient care.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, any questions on the IEP?
Certainly not to second guess the preparedness of having an engine on Griffin Island during that time. I recall it was 25 years ago, I guess, one of the houses burned down to the ground and we needed 6 engines and 2 3,000-gallon tanks to knock down that fire. Is it, again, I'm not trying to question your judgment. If you think that's where it should be, then that's where it's going to be. But is that resource better utilized somewhere else during that time period? Do you think that that's going to have a significant effect on a fire incident on Griffin Island to have one engine?
Having one engine there, if any fire does occur, will allow us to initiate operations.
Okay.
The rest of the on-duty crew would use one of our utility vehicles to cross the island to back those members up. We do have multiple engines, so we're still going to have, our primary engine with the jaws, everything else at the station ready to respond and cover the rest of the town.
Sure.
So it's not going to take away from the rest of the coverage either.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I would add that as part of that IAP, I know we have a protocol in place with MIG that as soon as there is an emergency call, we can, whatever we're in the middle of doing with that
Hope there
crane,
isn't.
we can break it down.
Right.
As, stop the pick, suck in the outriggers, and get access as quickly as possible.
Through the chair. Will you be changing the variable message board that you have?
So that's one of my intents, is change the variable message boards. We have two, one on island, one off island. And we also have been using, in a more rudimentary sense, some sandwich boards around town. So we'll probably utilize some of those.
And those have worked, because a lot of people have seen them, and they have diverted themselves, so even though they don't look like they're very impressive, they work.
Okay.
All right. Do we have to do a motion here?
No.
This is an update.
Sir, members of the public would like to give
Okay.
comment?
Good evening, and thank you, Tim Sayre, through the chair. This bridge was supposed to come down last year, am I correct on that? Because you came to the board and said it would be here longer than it had been originally anticipated?
Right, so there was an extension on the timeline to our latest change order has the substantial completion date of May 2026. Obviously, that time has come and gone. We do have some other time extensions that have been kind of documented on paper. They haven't been formally executed, but we, some being weather, some being utilities, that's one of the causes that resulted in us not getting.
If I can, we're veering off of the agenda topic, and we're going to have a meeting on this next week.
Well, all I want to know is two quick things. What's the cost overrun on having that bridge there through July?
So there has been no additional cost in addition to the extension that we executed last year through change order 8, I believe it was, at a rough cost of $28,000 per month for that temporary bridge.
And when will the pilings be cut?
So the pilings will be cut as soon as the concrete pier caps are removed vis-a-vis the crane. Then we go down, cut the piles, and then we'll assess the benthic layer and see where those cuts are made and how we can best mitigate any sort of hazard to the.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your indulgence.
Thank you. Mr. McMahon?
Hi, Kevin McMahon. I'm over on Browns Neck, right above Pole Dyke. And I don't want to be, I'm not whining about this, but I wonder if you could help us. So the trucks, when they move through there, are creating an incredible amount of dust that is impacting the entire side of the street up there. People can't open their windows. It's that bad. It's like living in New York or Los Angeles. I appreciate the sign you put over at the transfer station, and I'm wondering if people to slow down. And I'm wondering if the same sign could be put over near Browns Neck where High Toss comes in.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah, that's easy.
We would appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
It's off topic, so I
It is
don't
off topic, but that's another
I do
thing.
want to say we are intending on having a very lengthy discussion about this project next week after our sewer commission meeting. Is there anyone online? Seeing
Next Tuesday
none.
night.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Can I take my
Yes.
leave?
You do deserve applause.
Do you want to recess?
Huh?
You want to recess?
I want to go home.
No, they were talking to each other.
I don't think he understands what you're saying.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand it because you don't feel it. Just explain to him.
If you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just stay.
Moving on to business B, a discussion on next steps for Maurice's planning.
How much time?
This is
I'd like to invite up our town planner, housing coordinator, if they would.
I don't think he understood what you were trying to say. It's okay.
evening.
Good evening. So just to recap where we are. About a week ago, we had a productive discussion amongst the select board. Ideas were shared, seemed to be forming a consensus, but we took no definitive action. The intention of this evening's discussion is to continue discussion, to invite public input, and if we so feel to make any decisions, make a motion and a direction on a way forward. With that, I want to start with members of the board, if they have any comments on reflection of our previous discussion.
All I can say is that I thought it was a very good discussion, and I agreed with the direction it was going in, and I'm willing to support it.
Yes, I agree.
I'll go. I do think, obviously the town meeting vote went the way it went. It's very common for housing developments to go through multiple different permutations over the period of time that they're under consideration. I think there's a lot of benefit of retaining a committee to provide some level of oversight. It also provides some level of shelter to staff, because if it becomes where the direction is being determined solely by staff, they can become the targets of some of the pressure that's out there. And it's helpful sometimes to have the cover of having a committee to provide that. Obviously, there's different opinions on how to proceed. Going forward, I do think that it needs to, at the very least, remain very housing-centric, because that is the reason that we purchased the property, and what townspeople, voted on when we did purchase it. The town meeting vote was to see if they supported it or not, the master plan. It was a close vote, but, it went the way it went. But we also have to determine what some of the reasons are behind people's, behind people's votes. What, different people have different issues. Obviously, there's some that are more widely shared, but there's also the smaller ones. I mean, I know that, I keep bringing up the tradespeople and shell fishermen as an easy example, but there has to be some sort of process to kind of get into those details and figure out what they are. I'm kind of frustrated by certain members of the committee as it is right now. It just is. You deal with it the best that you can. Ideally, we would have had zoning ready for the select board to review by, the original timetable was sometime in February. It's taken longer than that. I do think that we need to at least allow that zoning to be presented to the board, because it's at work that's been paid for. The contract was approved by the select board, and I think it would also be helpful in terms of framing some of these discussions as to what things may or may not kind of look like, and the various steps going forward as well. So.
I'm just going to go with the motion. I mean, I understand everything. I don't think that there's not going to be a committee. I think that right now we're taking a different approach and gather a lot of information, and then bring the public in to different options and that sort of thing. But I think, and I think all of that information is there for them to review and absorb, and have it to be as helpful as it can be of what they're looking at. But I don't have those same fears.
through the chair, unless, John, you had something you wanted to add. I just want to address what Ryan said, because I think he raised some important points that I think we should think about as we move forward. I agree that this does put staff really in the spotlight, and it's tough, and I know that from my own experience. It's important that if we do this, that we demonstrate our support for staff, and I think that will make things tolerable, and we can get updates from staff where we support them, or ask questions and whatnot, but I just think that's a really key thing, support that we can provide. As far as addressing like particular constituencies, like Ryan mentioned, shell fishermen, I mean, I think that's what the stakeholders committee is intended to address. So that's an important part of this, as well as having a staff-led process, is the stakeholders committee. I do agree with Ryan that we should continue and complete the zoning and vote on that at, well, he didn't say this, but I will, bring that to fall town meeting. And because putting the zoning in place doesn't make decisions about what gets built there, it just sets what is permitted to be built there. So I do hope we continue and bring zoning to fall town meeting. Thank you.
Nothing right now.
I have
actually, just one thing. I mentioned this before, so I'll mention it again. Whatever we do, we have to keep in mind the obligation we have in terms of the sewage treatment plant. And my understanding from asking the consultants in the past is that that can be done in a modular fashion, so that as building progresses, depending on how we go about it, like small chunks at first or whatever, we can expand as needed up to the level, up to the limits of the capacity of any leach field that goes in.
I have a question. If we proceed with the proposed plan, what do you foresee as your first deliverable? I suppose what's the order of operations you see working with the community, working with the select board, moving this forward?
Beth Piles, Town Planner, Land Use Council. I think the first deliverable from, if it were staff-led, would be to look at what's been done already by Maurice's planning, campground planning committee. Look at that, look at the HPP, look at the community input, and figure out what are the positives that we can move forward, and what are the things that maybe need to be worked on, or what are the things that, you know, we want to drop.
Sure.
And to look at that first, to and make a work plan based on that. I think that would be the first step.
And not to put you on the spot, but in your mind's eye, what's a time frame you feel is appropriate to accomplish that? And it can change. I'm just trying to get it. I'm just trying to structure in my head what the process forward is going to start to look like.
I don't know if this is too far out, but end of August, is that too far out?
I think that's reasonable.
No, I think that's more than reasonable.
No, that sounds reasonable. I forgot to harp on something I still think is important, that what we're looking for ultimately from staff are alternatives. So this is an alternatives analysis and not just one plan. So,
Right.
Thank you.
That might not be by August, but it'll be in that
That's
plan.
not in the first
Yeah,
first
but that's-
deliverable, but I
that's
just-
what we're striving for, right?
You know, I think something I would also ask is to also give input on who you believe, not individuals, but what do you think should be the structure of a stakeholder group? I really think that's important that we have one. You know, but I think I would appreciate your input on how that should be structured. I think that will be a discussion with the board ultimately on what that's going to look like, but I would like to see the general vision coming from you, because that will be an interfacing body with the two of you, and I want to make sure that that was how you see things moving forward. I also think that one thing we need to have a discussion with the board that we really haven't touched is if we dissolve the current Maurice's Campground Planning Committee. If we do move forward with this, I think that would be appropriate, but we actually haven't discussed that. So I thought we could have a quick discussion on that, and then I wanted to open it up to the public if they want to give any input as well.
Mr. Chair, before we talk about the dissolution, can I just, well, one of them is related to dissolution as well. One is that right now, there's currently not like a definitive path forward, that the board's approved for staff to work on. Obviously, there's the proposal here, but, if it had been a year ago and when the master plan was approved and when funding for some of the work had been approved after town meeting, you could kind of say, all right, this is the direction, can you work on this and move this forward? But without that definitive direction kind of set, it becomes tricky. Obviously, alternatives analysis would be helpful. And then at least in relation to the committee, one of my concerns is that there's a lot of subject matter experts on the committee as it currently exists. Jeff Sachs or up until he retired a few months ago, was the preeminent, one of the preeminent affordable housing lawyers in the Commonwealth. The Emily Atchenberg does consulting usually on the behalf of towns on the financial feasibility of developer proposals on that are going before the town. She did it for Lawrence Hill. She did it for she did the one for Governor Prince in Orleans. Right. And then there's Bill, who's a very new addition.
There we go, sorry.
A very new addition, within the last, couple months. And he's been involved in quite a number of developments over time. And I think these are all basically experts that have been providing services to the town, for free. And I'm a little concerned if we lose that subject matter expertise, it could be an issue.
If I may respond to that, and I'm not going to betray anyone's confidences of private conversations, but I've had conversations with many members of the current Maurice's Campground Planning Committee, a lot of them with that subject matter expertise you're speaking of, and they have all reaffirmed that they are willing to continue to participate. And I took them at their word and that they were genuinely wanting to continue to contribute. Right. And I would hope that our planner housing coordinator would be engaging with them.
Exactly.
There's some tremendous resources in this community, and I don't think your intention is to walk away from them. No. So,
not at all. No.
Yeah, right. So I hear your comment, Mr. Curley. At least I've been reassured by a number of the members that they would not walk away. And I think that's just a testament to how much everyone cares about this project.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when staff presented at the last meeting, there was a couple-page proposal. Like, did you call that a work plan, or do you remember what that was called? Something like that?
It was just
proposal.
Proposal.
Okay. And then I think we asked for a revised version at some point, or am I making that up? I'm making that up. Oh.
But it sounded good.
Okay.
We would
I guess
have
I
that
just
if-
thought that. So this just goes to something, again, that Ryan said, which is if the committee is dissolved now, sort of what's the plan? Is there a plan in place? I mean, I think the plan in place would be the one that you proposed, revised.
Yes.
But at the direction of the town administrator and the select board. So I don't know, since we don't have that in front of us now, we can't make much progress on that, but I guess I see that as forming kind of a replacement for what Ryan's talking about, so that there's not a vacuum left where the committee was.
Right.
So, and then, I don't think I can say this enough, I would just like to thank Ryan and give Ryan credit for all the work he's done with this committee. He's been the heart and soul of this committee and moving things forward. And it takes somebody like Ryan to be able to hear and listen to the idea of dissolving a committee that he's worked so hard on. So I would just like to thank Ryan for being open to it and approaching this constructively. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I agree.
At this point, I'd like to open it up to the public. If there's any public comment, then the board may deliberate more and may take action. But is there anyone in the room that would like to make a comment?
Two things. I'm now a water commissioner, and we actually have a committee of water commissioners. I'm not speaking as delegated by them, but as someone who has looked very closely into the situation of providing water for the people that have been using it for years. Again, not misrepresenting myself, I had a long, productive conversation with one of the Gautiers. That's the family that ran and managed the campground for decades. And I got a lot of numbers that I did not hear shared publicly. I'd never gotten them, even though I'd been listening, right? I hadn't been going to Maurice's planning committee meetings. But the people on there are served by a well that's extraordinary, has an extraordinary radius of contribution. Most of it is undeveloped parkland, and it's a good well. And what I feel right now, and I hope that those numbers are considered carefully, and if they're not available through the committee in minutes or otherwise, that you get a count. You could call Mr. Gautier yourself. I called John. Marty is also a Gautier, but John's the one that knew all this. That you get who is on there, how many they are. They've all been served by this well. There are two wells. There's a shallower well and a larger well. And get a sense of the diversity of the people that are already there and have been served well, because they are a group, diverse. They're not all compartmentalized into a barracks or a so-called dormitory for seasonal workers. Many of them have been coming back for years and years, as you know, they're paper articles. And the leasing situation and the rental situation of the units, of the trailers, is excellent. And some of them, a lot of them, were owned by the Gautiers. And it was well managed. But what struck me was this diverse group of people are people who could not rent affordably here. And if you want to restrict Wellfleet to only to people who can pay the exorbitant prices people pay to rent here, even for a week, even for a month, I don't. And the camp that used to do that well, Payne's Campground, no longer has the opportunity to lease for a season or for long periods of time. But most importantly, right now, I think that we should all be able to hear from the people who have been using it, their experience. And I suggest that one option to be considered would be to continue to use that premises in a way that the other affordable housing parcels are not being used. It's unconventional, perhaps, but it's providing a way for people with less money, including lots of seasonal workers, to be part of the community, which they're already part of, and then have some of it be for long-term leases, for home ownership for year-round people. But I strongly suggest that one option should be to maintain it as it is, in part, to serve those members of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room?
Good evening, and thank you, Tim Sayre. I'm not going to sit up here and try to tell you what you should do with the campground at this point. What I am going to do is ask you to give these two ladies till September 8th, which is a Tuesday, so you could have another meeting, okay, to look at everything that's been done by this committee over the past 3 years. Pick out the good, throw away the bad, find the middle ground, find the other alternatives to this. But I am not going to try to attempt to tell you what you should do tonight other than give them until then. And hopefully we'll have many more meetings about this campground before the town meeting, which should happen sometime probably in October. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Good.
Hello. My name is Emma Fillion. I'm a Provincetown local, and I'm here to voice my concern following the Select Board's previous meeting on the Maurice's Campground Planning Committee. I'm very grateful to the Maurice's Committee, the Select Board, and town staff for your attention to developing this enormously important project. I speak both as a young person who grew up on the Cape, part of that time in affordable housing, and as the founder of After Hours, representing the voices of our members, many of whom are my peers and could not be here tonight. I was concerned about the distrust of the experience the experts on the MCPC have. I'm new to this conversation, and I really don't mean this to be disrespectful, but I do seriously wonder what other kinds of alternatives could be considered after a committee of 11 people stacked with professionals. Like, what other alternatives are you looking to produce? And additionally, how does a plan from 2008 serve us now? We live in a very different Cape Cod. I was 8 years old then, I'm 26. The primary concern I had following the meeting was that our time as young adults on Cape Cod was not comprehensively understood by those in attendance. The permanence of our time on Cape Cod is not secured by a deed. Our time on Cape Cod is borrowed from under the roofs of our parents' and families' houses, where we spend hours scavenging LinkedIn for a job that pays enough to move out, or we plot our escape from this place. Or we spend time between 2 additional part-time summer jobs to pay for the rental we can't afford to lose. Based on the proposed timeline for Maurice's, we are at least 6 months behind schedule for the project, which was supposed to break ground at the end of 2028. How much more time do you think this will take, and how many of us do you think will be here by then? We do not have time to slow down and explore alternatives that have no verified funding sources for a project which has the potential to provide so much to so many. The affordable and attainable housing at Maurice's Campground cannot be expected to be the sole solution to a decades-long untreated problem. We have come to this point because for over 50 years, decision makers have turned away from making uncomfortable decisions to protect the community and character of towns on Cape Cod. We allowed second homeowners and rental properties to grow unchecked, outpacing the means of our communities without providing any meaningful protections for many year-round locals, the true character of our communities, who were ultimately priced out. I'm worried that I stand now as witness to that same hesitation and the same repeated concerns about traffic, density, and water quality that we do have professional answers to, that we can hire that we have hired consultants to look into. That as a community we choose to task these kinds of questions to developers building houses for modest earning, year-round locals instead of those developers building beachfront mega mansions that we end up footing the bill for when they eventually erode into the ocean. As someone who spent my adolescence in affordable housing, I would be the first to tell you that no, it's not perfect. Affordable housing isn't perfect, but it gave me a roof over my head as I got a fantastic public school education at Nauset. Affordable housing isn't perfect, but it has given my mother dignity as her health has declined and allows her to age in place in a community where she is seen and she is known. Affordable housing isn't perfect, but it gave me a place to come home to, a community that has raised me, that has seen me off and welcomed me back. A community that loves me, that I love too. Please continue with the RFP project. There are too many people who need this housing. This is so much more than density and traffic. I had a friend who said to me that Cape doesn't want me here.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to make a public comment?
I grew up in Wellfleet. I went through the Nauset school system and worked at local businesses all through high school and college. I have helped your children and grandchildren pick up books at the library, and I was in the Christmas pageants at the Congregational Church. I have a steady, good-paying job through the state where I work diligently to support the people of the Cape. This is my home and my community and the place that I love more than anywhere else in the world, and I cannot afford to live here. I am only able to live in Wellfleet because I'm living with family, which as much as I love them, I'm also 25 and it's not ideal. And I'm not unique in this regard. None of my friends from high school can live on their own in the towns where they grew up, and almost all of them have moved away entirely. Through my job, I speak to people daily who are having to move away because they can't afford to live here. Just the other day, I was trying to help a 77-year-old domestic violence survivor figure out where to go after being evicted. Then I spoke to a disabled veteran who had been on a housing wait list for 20 years, and a single mother who was being foreclosed on. I spoke to a woman with early onset dementia who cannot access the care she needs because there are no caregivers who can afford to live here and help her. We do not have time to pause Maurice's to come up with alternatives. We do not have more years to wait for a groundbreaking. There are children and elders and disabled people who are being forced out of their communities as we speak because we care more about traffic or whatever other excuses people like to make than we do about their lives. If we push this project again, it will not get done, and opponents know this, which is why they are pushing so hard to stall it. I agree that reforms are sorely needed. I agree that we need and have needed leadership and communication between the town staff and select board and the committee, but we cannot press pause. I believe in our ability to build this project by utilizing the technical expertise of developers and housing experts to produce a design that we can celebrate. To pause Maurice's would not only jeopardize the project, but our community as a whole. We have an opportunity to protect our neighbors, and if we truly are the caring community that we claim to be, then we will not press pause.
Thank you. We have two people online. Is there anyone else in the room? Very good. Corey Keel, please.
Need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So, Corey Kell, I grew up here and I've lived here in this town for 44 years. I watched many meetings regarding happenings in town. And Maurice is one subject that's created an absolutely ridiculous amount of fighting in the community, and it's been really sad to watch. It didn't have to be this way, and it's not Wellfleet style. I felt that the working meeting last week felt like a step in the right direction. It felt like the vote at the town meeting had been seen. It felt like people with differing opinions had been heard. It felt like it was noticed that the current plan is in need of additional input and expertise from other committees, boards, and groups such as police, fire, and the DPW, the reformation of a stakeholder group, and an opportunity for more community engagement, which I don't think we've had enough of up to this point. And if we did, we wouldn't be in this position right now. Back when we bought the property, 70% of voters voted yes. At the last town meeting, the master plan approval was at 48%. I believe with the right guidance from the select board, we can get closer to that 70% approval on the master plan, which is in the best interest of our community's well-being and future. I hope any votes taken tonight consider that, and we need to get this right for Wellfleet. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I couldn't hear that very well, but anyway.
Tyler Yeager, please.
Hi there, this is Tyler Jager, reporter with the Provincetown Independent. I'm just trying to figure out what this board is potentially voting on tonight. I know there was a discussion of a memo from Town Planner Beth Piles at your June 30th meeting, part of which was read aloud, but is the motion going to contain that entire proposal or memo? Because there's no record of that memo that I could find in the packet either tonight or from last week.
The memo itself and the handout that Mr. Curley distributed should be in the minutes online.
Okay.
And even on the agenda. I
No,
think
it's not
It
there.
wasn't on the
No.
agenda?
No.
Okay. It wasn't submitted before that. Or you could submit it to them. They could provide it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Laura Arcamano, please.
Hi, and thank you. I really just want to thank the Select Board for your interest and your guidance and entertaining the idea of involving town staff in this project. I think it's really overdue. I support the reconstitution of a stakeholders group, and I really do hope that it is a stakeholders group that is inclusive of many points of view, but also of constituencies that have been neglected, such as Town of Eastham staff and other neighboring towns. One thing that we haven't even talked about is the potential of the development at tea time and how that impacts water use and traffic use, which leads me to my next thing, is that a comprehensive traffic study is absolutely needed. And I mean comprehensive, not just a traffic count. And lastly, we really do need to update the housing production plan. We all know we need housing, but we really need to get this right because we have one chance to do this well. And I really do thank you all for your time and your interest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Just wanted to, since this was brought up again, Maurice has been functioning as a campground with numerous campsites and approximately 60 or 70 seasonal workers living there all summer long. I'm not sure why the traffic is such a concern. People have been coming in and out of there in large numbers all summer long for as long as I can remember, and I'm 74 years old. The only difference would be that the traffic would be coming in and out of there in the off-season as well, when there are far fewer seasonal residents out here. So I think that's something that can be taken off the table and help things move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
So are you looking for a motion to dissolve the committee as it stands? It doesn't mean to dissolve a future committee.
Yeah, I've been sketching a motion that I wonder if the board would consider, but I just wanted to make one more point, and then I think we can maybe move to that, is that I have a tremendous amount of confidence in both of your expertise, but I do want to reinforce that we may need to bring in other experts along this planning process, as I believe you would agree. And so I just want to make the public aware that, this is not a pause. I don't see this as a pause. This is a continuance. We're going in a different vector of sorts, but it's moving forward. And the directive that I'm prepared to give specifically states that we're going to continue the planning and development. We're not going to move backwards. We're not going to stop and pause. That's not the intention. And so I'm seeing a lot of head nods, which is great. But, I just wanted to say that for the public. With that said, and I am very amenable to amendments from my colleagues. I've been trying to scratch this out. But I move to direct the town planner, I move to direct the town administrator to have the town planner and the housing coordinator continue the planning and development of Maurice's Campground for affordable and attainable housing, and to bring a work plan back to the board by the end of August, inclusive of a analysis report and a proposal of a structure of a stakeholder group.
One thing.
Yeah, like I said, I'm amenable to amendments.
So I think that the Committee of Maurice's needs to know it's no longer going to, they do not have to meet, and they will be called upon.
I would like to take that as a separate motion, but I agree with you that we need to.
Yeah, we have to make that, it's just so everybody knows that's there. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
A question for the housing coordinator, town and town planner, land use council. I think looking at the work that's been done to date, the extensive work that's been done to date, taking what the good, assessing what may not be as popular, and putting those together in a work plan and schedule of some sort is probably 6 to 7 weeks worth by itself.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is the alternatives analysis. I'm not sure, and maybe I'm wrong, but can you pull an alternatives analysis off between now and September? I don't think so.
No.
Through the chair, I don't think so.
That's why.
No, I appreciate the input, and you're absolutely right. I should not.
Sorry, Josh.
No, it's okay. I was reading both. Look, I have like 6 columns of notes, and so the motion was feeding into the further deliverables, so I apologize. I strike the words alternative report analysis from my motion.
Okay.
Can you read the full motion again?
Yeah, happy to. I move to direct the town administrator to have the town planner and the housing coordinator to continue the planning and development for Maurice's Campground for affordable and attainable housing, and to bring a work plan back to the board by the end of August with a proposal of a structure of a stakeholders group.
Does that sound doable? Yep.
Yes.
All right, so I'll second.
Motion's been seconded. Discussion?
Discussion. First is that I honestly was expecting a revised memo tonight because we had asked for some changes. And it would be helpful to have had that. So it's kind of unclear as to what the structure might be until we have a revised memo. But in terms of the motion itself, if Barbara wants an alternatives analysis, it should be inclusive of that. It doesn't mean it has to be done by, a deadline. But, and that was one of the things I had been expecting in a revised memo would be inclusive of an alternatives analysis. So I just, I can't really support the motion without, a revision of the previous memo, and inclusive of, the other requests that have been made, such as the alternatives analysis.
Well, for the sake of discussion, if I may, there's nothing prohibiting this board from making additional motions after we take a vote on this.
Right.
I think we seem to have consensus on that. I don't imagine that would be an issue. And if for whatever reason it is, any member has the prerogative to call the question and vote, not call the question, reconsider the motion that's been made and seconded. I would like to keep this conversation moving forward and not get ourselves in kind of a procedural bog, per se.
I agree.
I agree.
So through the chair, the motion, did the motion request a work plan that is a revision to the one that was presented. Is that how you see it?
No, I mean, I don't see, the memo that was proposed, I saw was a very light proposal. I don't see that as a substantive work plan forward. So I don't want to get hung up on this memo. I think they're listening. I think we have clear direction. If we want to make further motions to make even clearer direction on what we're expecting to see, we can do that. But that's right.
I think it's clear that we're going to move on from the Maurice's committee as it stands. Put that over here. There's expertise on that they can call while they're going through, looking at what works, what is really useful, get more information. They're there to help them. We do want alternatives. That's the whole thing, that there weren't alternatives discussed. So after their initial presentation, say at the end of August or the first week in September, we can go from there. But alternatives in different ways forward, and people with different ideas coming in and different, I mean, at a certain point, not everyone's going to be happy, but people will be happier than just this one plan or one set. And we also have to consider the people there. I think that Helen makes a very good point. I drove through there the other day, and there are people who would never be able to have a vacation in this world today as we're living in it without a campground. So, and that is kind of part of the character of the town. So I look at this as taking what they propose. They're professionals. We pay them for their expertise, and let them come back to us and say, this is where we are, this is what we see, and this is what we feel our next step could be, but they understand it's to look at different alternatives.
Yeah,
So with that, I think that we could make some decisions tonight in direction.
Yeah, through the chair, I agree, but I want to see if we can accommodate what Ryan is asking for with some additional language to the motion.
I would say, let's make a second motion. Let's
Go
vote
right
on
ahead.
this as the structure, and then we can
And
continue it
Go
with
for it.
another motion, another motion after that. So I'd like to call a roll call vote, please.
On the motion
Can
that's
you read
been...
the full motion again? Sorry.
For a third time. No, it's all right. Just got to read my handwriting. I move to direct the town administrator to have the town planner and housing coordinator continue the planning and development of Maurice's campground for affordable and attainable housing, and to bring a work plan back to the board by the end of August, along with a proposal of a structure of a stakeholders group.
Second.
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, I.
Josh, aye. Thank you very much. Does anyone else on the board have a motion to make?
No. Unless you want
I
a
think,
dissolution?
no, I mean, so I think we need to have, I mean, right now, that's just directing a work plan to be developed. It doesn't include what's in it. It doesn't include, a lot of things. And, if one of them is going to be a requirement for alternatives analysis, I think that's something that we should make it in motion tonight as well. I'm really concerned just about the lack of firm directions that are being given. I mean, yeah.
I would encourage you to make a motion if you think one is needed.
Well, it was Barbara's suggestion, so.
Okay, I'll give it a try. I move that the work plan referenced in the previous motion include an outline of an alternatives analysis for the select board's consideration. I don't know, please help me out.
Yeah.
No, the only thing I would want to know is, that's fine, but what level of detail of analysis are you actually requesting? If it's just a high level, here's a scenario or two to bring back, or if it's a deeper level than that, I don't think we can do it that fast.
No, through the chair, I didn't mean, I guess I understood Ryan's point to be that if we're going to ask for an alternatives analysis down the line, we should be making that clear now. So I did not, with my motion, I was not setting a deadline for that. This is really more that the board is giving additional direction to staff, which I think is what Ryan was suggesting, that part of this work plan will be an alternatives analysis, and I do think that needs to be in-depth.
Want that incorporated in the work plan.
If I could jump
Please,
in.
go
I
ahead.
think what I'm hearing is that I imagine at some point in this work plan, you're going to have some form of a schedule, some form of a timeline. I think what my colleague is asking for is so that the work plan includes reference to doing a alternatives analysis as part of this process that we're endeavoring on. Is that?
Yeah, I
Is that an
think
accurate
that captures it, and I mean, I understand why Ryan wants that in there, that needs to be part of the direction, so, but free of a deadline or a particular, level of analysis.
I think what you just said, if you could have written it down, or we could do a playback, was exactly what is needed, that, or even amend your motion to say that the intent of this is to be looking at alternatives
I can get
that
us
are
out of
feasible.
this.
Can you go there?
I can get us out of this.
Okay.
Could I ask a question?
Please.
When we talk about alternatives and analysis, are we speaking of alternatives such as multiple small developers instead of one big one? Are we talking about alternatives as different sources of funding? I'm not sure what the specifics are.
So through the chair, I don't have specifics, but the idea is that the board would not be presented with one plan for the board to decide on yes or no. That the board would be offered a number of development alternatives to discuss and to compare, and for the board ultimately to make a decision on which to go forward with. The alternatives might have to do with, are we doing a ground lease for the entire place? Are we proposing to create small lots? Just there are a number of things, and ownership versus rental, or what combination. I mean, and also we're looking for them to provide us with sort of creative ideas that we're not thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that when the board makes a decision, it won't be a decision on one proposal. It will be considering different proposals, different alternatives. It's the way a lot of planning is done. It's not the only model, but I think just given our experience in the past couple of years as the committee has worked on this, I think alternatives is a better way for the board ultimately.
Right. And for the public to absorb.
Right, so a better model for decision-making than a plan up or down. So
Right.
that's why I've suggested it.
Mr. Curley.
Two things. First, and I've said this before, I mean, we had always been considering that it might be multiple different developers with different RFPs to accomplish specific, tasks. Or it could have been one master developer. We weren't set on that. We were have an RFP that was drafted and, been sent to administration for the last, 8 or 9 months, where it's where we were looking for a consultant to help us figure out what a optimal structure would be for an eventual RFP or RFPs for issuing it to developers. But the other part is that any alternatives analysis needs to include a robust financial analysis. It's part and parcel of this part of the world, but I just want to make it clear that it also has to include a robust financial analysis as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't think we need to make a motion on this. I think everyone has consensus and is hearing everyone. And so I do think.
I'll second the motion.
No, I mean, if you,
So-
there really wasn't a motion.
Oh,
And-
Barbara had made a motion.
Okay.
So the,
Can you
just
repeat the motion, please?
That the town planner, land use council, and housing coordinator be directed as part of the work plan referenced in the the previous motion, that they be directed to include as part of the work plan an outline of alternatives analysis to be a part of their work.
Yep, and I second that motion, and just for discussion, Mr. Chair. So the reason why I feel that motions are appropriate is that it's oftentimes, and we've had this a number of times with administration, where we're looking back through minutes and trying to figure out exactly what the board had decided on or not, and it's kind of hard to see consensus in minutes without a motion, because if there's a motion, you can easily see, all right, there's the motion, that was the direction, that was the vote. And so, I'm, in general, just think that the
Mr.
consensus
Curley.
method just doesn't work very well.
I appreciate that. May I have a roll call vote on the motion, please?
Ryan, aye.
Barbara, aye.
Sheila, aye.
John, aye.
Josh, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Good luck. No, good job, thank you. Thank you for
Sincerely,
agreeing.
thank you.
Thank you.
Do we want to take up the consideration of the planning committee tonight? Do we want to save that for later?
Let's save that.
Save.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on to select board reports. Does anyone have a report?
I guess I have a very short one that, I guess you're all probably aware that the working group that I formed with, the initiative to get the select boards together has sent out the questionnaires for who can attend when and so on. So we're
I
moving.
responded.
Yeah.
Oh. Did I?
You should have gotten it.
Okay. No, I can't remember if I responded.
So
I'll
we're
check my
moving
email.
ahead with it.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay.
There was something, and I
Well,
can't remember it. It's
Well,
driving me crazy.
We're going to wait till, bring it up next time.
Do we have a correspondence report?
We do not have a correspondence report because I was busy. I actually could rattle it off because I have
understand.
these ones, but let me put it into a form for you and I'll send it off and we can, I'll submit it to be entered into the record next meeting.
Thank you very much.
I have one for you to make a report on.
Okay.
The TA performance review,
Yes.
just that you pushed it out there and.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can inform the public on this. The TA's performance review has been sent to members. I've asked the members to return their reports to me by the 31st of July, at which point we will give the town administrator's performance review to the public on August 18th.
Okay.
And just for the
Everybody
benefit
has to have their
of the board
interview.
members, last time, the best way to do it is if you set up a meeting with the administrator and.
We got that.
If I may, Mr. Curley, that was all in the email that you all
Sorry,
received.
sorry.
We all got
Just
that.
reminding people.
And
Okay.
we've already had a response
well.
from,
I appreciate the reminder.
Okay,
Thank you.
so there was amended minutes, vacancy reports. We're not going to read this aloud, but I encourage everyone in the public to look at the agenda packet tonight. We have many vacancies, and we would very much love to receive applications.
right.
So, minutes. We received an amended,
Do we have topics before minutes or minutes first?
I don't think there's topics on there.
no, that's a great question.
Topics is after.
I'm sorry, I
select board-
skipped over topics. It was stuck to the page. My apologies, Mr. Curley. Topics for future discussion, please.
So one thing I've been kicking around for many years is if it might make sense to have a separate licensing board. It would require a charter change because right now the select board is the licensing board. I think it's worthy of a discussion and leave it at that.
Very well.
Through the chair, this might be more of a admin and Sheila topic, but just to move the LCP process along.
Yes.
If we could just learn.
Well, I was going to give that report that I have met with Beth,
Yeah.
and we're going to be, I'm only advising. I am only your liaison.
Okay.
I'm not running this show. But I am there to assist because I'm the only living member of the last one, as it turns out.
Still is.
And, I'm sorry, who?
Suzanne.
Suzanne was not on the LCP. It was Paul Pilcher. She was on the interim, but the one that was actually completed was in 2008 and submitted. So there will be more to come. There's just some preliminary and really kind of cleaning up the stuff that we can do very easily, population, that type of stuff. And then there will be a process, and there's going to be other people involved, health, conservation, different department heads to be coming in and giving their bit. So it's going along, unfortunately. And the thing that's very important about the local comprehensive plan is that I've learned, even more so because I've been part of it, but I didn't really realize the outcome and the benefit of it is once you have an updated one, you can access a lot more grants because they ask, do you have your local comprehensive plan updated? And if you don't, then it doesn't mean you don't get the grant, but you could get more.
Okay.
So it's a very important document that we should pursue. Barbara, if you have anything else, I have one other thing I was going to bring up.
Hold on, we're still on topics of future
Right,
discussion.
this is
I know, we're on
topic,
with-
yeah,
with-
this is
so do I.
part of this, I guess because, I mean, I just did this intro recently, but, I mean, I think it will fall to the select board to appoint a committee. So just if that's in the mix.
That will be there.
I would love for us to get, thinking about that and get the word out so we can recruit people who might want to work on it, that's all.
Well,
I would like
there
to
will
not
be.
deliberate on this.
Yeah,
but
we're not going to
but
deliberate.
understood
There'll be
that
more to
this-
come, and that's all part of it.
Okay.
Parking, parking, and parking.
Right? And
Got to get on this.
as I look, now that construction will be done for is that all you have?
Yeah.
Now that construction will be done and, what was once going to be a bike path, trailhead has been used to stage all that, I do think that we have to look at the bike trail once again.
Very well. Both the LCP and parking are on my future discussion list for future agendas, which is good to see. The licensing board is new. I'll add that and the bike trail as well.
Great.
Okay. So, were there any
Minutes.
more select board reports?
No.
I'm sorry, we're moving on. Vacancy reports, we did. Minutes, we received 2 amended minutes for the 23rd and the 30th via email.
No.
Did all members receive that and review that?
I haven't read them, no.
Okay, I had a couple very small amendments for June 16th. I noticed a couple things. We have another week. If we're having a joint meeting on the 14th, we can handle minutes
Okay.
on the 14th.
That's
And so
fine.
I would recommend we table minutes until the next meeting.
So agreed.
Very well.
Hang on to these.
No, there's amended minutes in our email. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Brian, aye.
Sheila, aye.
All right, we got it.
At 9:17.
Josh, aye. This meeting is adjourned at 9:17.